Last time, in the onset of the campaign, the outset, I should say, of the campaign, the Epics of Irundal, we were introduced to our three heroes of the story. We have Dazes, the Water Genasi monk, coming to the Tierhelm capital city, or not capital city, but one of the major cities, Tierhelm, in the northwestern portion of the continent of Irundal, coming to meet with a former companion on the ships he used to work in, a half-orc named Domus. At the same time, we had a large, half-giant Goliath Druid by the name of Floof, coming from the adjacent forests, coming to Tierhelm for his own reasons, trying to follow behind a strange happening within the forested regions around this city. And lastly, we had a rather interesting individual, a Plasmoid named Trash, taking on the similar form of a ratling in the city, coming on the behest of your mentor of sorts, a sorcerer of the Magisterium Arcanum, who asked you to come and look into a string of missing persons cases in the city of Tierhelm. At which time you all began to interact with one another. Some a bit more prickly interactions than others, but still nonetheless entertaining. Up until a point where a pair of young girls seemingly went missing from the festivities of the carnival market that were taking place in Tierhelm. At which time you began a mission to track these young girls, fearing that these missing persons cases had something to do with it. But you all sort of followed behind, successful in tracking down one of the young girls in particular, named Christina, a young half-elf girl, able to track them to the outskirts of the city, a slightly forested area, and a cave system, upon which you found Christina, a young girl named Linda, a friend of theirs, as well as Sylvia, the daughter of Domus, all within this darkened cave, at the behest of Linda, who had seemingly been tricked by a clutch of disturbing mimic-like creatures in this cave system, upon which you realize that these missing persons had been the prior victims of this clutch of creatures. After dispatching the creatures themselves with no small amount of effort, you were able to escape a potential near-death experience for some of you, but able to save the young girls and exit the caves, having collected a bit of the remains, as well as delivering Christina back to the trio of rather would-be gangsters that you had encountered earlier in the carnival market. At which time you were invited to return to Domus's home in the southern portions of the city to get a rest after your ordeal that day. Before the morning light, though, that evening, Dazes, Domus asked to have a conversation with you that evening. Primarily for the reason he had sent a message to you, or had commissioned a message to be sent to you. Out in the outdoor forge portion of his work environment, he looks at you and hands you a glass of water after a rough day, and reaches into his pocket, pulling out a small token of sorts. A two-sided coin that you almost recognize instinctively. This was dropped off at our home about 3 months ago. I'm sure you recognize it. And as he rolls it around in his fingertips, you recognize one side as a gilded face of a beautiful woman. The other side, a rather darkened and tarnished face of a similarly looking woman. Are you proficient in religion, Aziz?
I'm not.
Okay, go ahead and give me a religion check to see if you recognize the faces on this coin.
Okay.
Before I explain further. All right, with a 14, yes, you do. You may not know all the more intricate details, but you recognize the more gilded face is the face of the, or at least the representative face of the goddess Tymora, the goddess of luck, good fortune, often a patron to sailors and tradesmen alike, going out on large and lengthy endeavors in the world. On the opposite side, her split counterpart, her twin sister Bashaba, the goddess of ill fortune, ill favor, and essentially the dark side to her light, essentially. These are the twin goddesses of fate that many sailors and tradesmen are rather familiar with. And you specifically recognize this coin as it was one of the most common trinkets carried by your since lost love, Ada, Domus's sister. And he, gingerly hands it to you. You can add, we'll add it later as an item, but just make a note that you can add the coin of fate, or token of fate, if you will, to your inventory.
Okay.
And you notice as you kind of spin the coin up and over, examining it, having recognized it as Ada would often flip this coin back and forth as you traveled long days at a time and weeks even out at sea, transporting goods, sometimes legally, sometimes illegally, depending on that. And she would often beseech the goddess Tymora for good favor as you traveled. And you recall briefly that the last time you saw Ada, when she was beseeching the goddess and she had been flipping this coin in her hand, she had dropped it onto the deck of the ship. And it wasn't the face of Tymora that fell on the ship facing upwards. It was the face of Bashaba. When the ship was caught up in a horrendous storm and capsized. That being said, you also notice there's almost a mineral-like material sort of crusted on one end of the coin. And you don't recall this material as you kind of flick it back and forth in your fingertips. It seems a bit odd. It doesn't look like residue of the sea. It looks like something more. But you specifically don't have any training that would otherwise tell you what this is. But Domus looks at you and says, I figured you should have that, as you were as close as family to her as I was. Don't know who left it. It was left in a piece of cloth at our doorstep, but 2 or 3 months ago, and I saved up a bit of coin in order to contact you, as I didn't know where you were. But I figured you should be the one to have that.
Thank you, Domus. Ooh. This brings back memories.
I could imagine. Both good and bad.
Certainly.
But it was certainly a keepsake of hers, and I feel like you are the most appropriate to carry it now. Why it was brought here now is the question. But if anyone was capable or had the opportunity to go searching for her, I figured you would be the most appropriate. With that being said, I have much to do in the morning, and I do need to see that Sylvia is well taken care of after this incident. He finishes his glass of water and nods to you. If you find anything, please don't hesitate to let me know. I would love to know what became of Ada, or if she is well. It would mean a great deal to me as well, and of course, to Sylvia.
You have no doubt I will reach out if I come upon any information.
He kind of slaps you on the back, a bit harder than you probably are used to, but he's a large individual, and says, "I appreciate that greatly." And he finishes his glass of water and heads back inside to see to Sylvia. Is there anything anyone else in the group would like to do before we start the next day?
No. I'm good.
No, I'm good.
Okay. You all awake early in the morning, roused by the bit tattered curtains as the sunlight begins to creep through the holes and through some of the slivers of air passing through some of these rather uninsulated walls of this abode, but you are able to get a long rest, so make sure you guys do that as well. Reset all your spell slots and your health points. But as Domus is preparing a modest breakfast for you all, there's a knock at the door, to which he proceeds to open, and a courier is standing there with a sealed letter that he hands over to Domus as he nods, tips the man a couple copper, and then closes the door as he comes back in, flipping the sealed letter back and forth as he immediately recognizes the wax seal on one side. Oh boy, I thought this might be coming. And he opens up the seal of the letter and kind of spreads it out on the table for you all to see, as it reads, "To Domus and the three adventurers, the Lord and the proprietor of the Gilded Bull, Miguel Barone, requests an audience at your earliest convenience. Present this letter at the reception parlor as proof of your invitation into the Barone estate." You see a signature, a rather very, very fine signature in fine ink at the very bottom. A one Miguel Barone.
Just to be clear, so did someone read that letter to us?
Yeah, Domus read it out loud.
Okay.
As soon as he saw that both he and you all were seemingly addressed in the letter.
Okay. Domus is still with us, right?
Yeah, you're all in his, kitchen, living room, kind of single family shack, if you will, with him and his daughter.
All right. I reach out my hand towards Domus and say, "Where my money?" Because he's giving coins. He gave a coin to Dazes, me not knowing that it's that good, and he gave a coin to the courier, and I want paid. So yeah, where's my money?
I can certainly spot you some coin for any tolls in and out of the city, but we don't have much, my friend.
I gesture my hand, yeah, give it up, without saying anything.
Go ahead and give me a persuasion check.
Okay.
$15. He's like, I understand. And he reaches into his pocket and hands you 3 silver coins.
Let's go, baby. I put it into my pocket and walk and start heading out the door.
Okay.
Would I have any silver coins on my person, like to start?
You would start with 10 gold coins, so however you want to break that up coin-wise. So basically, 1 gold coin is equal to 10 silver, 1 silver is equal to 10 copper, and 1 platinum is equal to 10 gold. It goes in units of 10. So however you want to break that up, when you look in your inventory...
Can I sleight of hand and just put 5 silver down?
Without like putting your silver down for Domus?
Mine, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Give me a sleight of hand check.
That was 16 plus 4 is 19.
19. So Domus doesn't appear to notice anything, but surprisingly, Sylvia eyes you out of the corner of her periphery and kind of looks to her father, and then kind of looks over, and she gives you a very soft, warm smile as she kind of drags her handkerchief over the top of the coins on the table, so her father perhaps doesn't see, because he may not... You kind of see this look on her face like she understands, but her father may not have accepted it, but she understands the stance at which it was given, and kind of gives you a warm smile. But with that...
This money exchange does remind me. I do want to take a gold coin out of my pocket and flip it to Domus.
Okay.
And say, essentially, here from Damien's pockets himself.
You were always quite the sly one on that ship, weren't you? Well, I appreciate it. As he holds the coin up, and we'll make sure this goes to Sylvia's education. That's the majority of where this money is going, as he looks to his daughter. Hopefully she has a better future than we did.
Hear, hear.
With that being said, he looks to you all. Now, I don't know what this letter means as far as this desired meeting, but let me mention to you now that this Miguel Barone is the head of the Gilded Bull. They're one of the largest trade organizations in the city, and he is quite the individual, to say the least. He has quite a lot of economic power outside of the nobility themselves. And that young girl that we saved, that was his only daughter. But how he interprets it is entirely subjective at this point. So we could be walking into a rather heated conversation, or we could be walking into a more amenable one. I have no idea, but I just thought I would mention that to you all. He is not an individual to be trifled with. I also owe him quite a lot of money. When Sylvia and I first moved here, I needed capital to get us started, and also to get Sylvia started in her education. And, well, to say the least, I'm late. But I don't intend to hide from that fact. I've stepped away from any more illicit dealings, but unfortunately, perhaps this is fate catching up with me a bit. As he kind of looks to you, Dazes, kind of, nodding at the coin, the token he had given you last night. you could call it balance in the world, if you will, or past misdealings. But I am trying to do what's right by my family, of course. But I don't see why he would be anything less than grateful to you three for what you did. That being said, I wouldn't choose to tarry too much, lest we have to deal with more capable individuals. Kind of motioning to that gold coin that you get given him, Dazes. Damien and his little troop are they are a piece of the puzzle, but needless to say, they are far from the most dangerous individuals in that group. Perhaps just a bit more obnoxious than dangerous.
Didn't seem very dangerous at all.
Right. But please feel free to finish up your meal, and he looks at Sylvia. You, young lady, need to go and get ready for school. And when you are on your way, he looks to the three of you, we can convene at the Gilded Bull, if you don't mind.
Sounds good.
Of course.
But anyway, he makes a rather delicious porridge for you all, with what little he has stored, foodstuffs and things of that nature. But for what he has, he was always a pretty good cook, and you remember this, Dazes. He was no slouch when it comes to with his capability as a deckhand, as well as a master of more home economic trades, if you will, having lost his wife fairly early on in his daughter's life to disease. So you remember he had to kind of learn those trades as well as those he had learned working alongside you on the ships.
Delicious as always, Domus. I see you haven't lost your touch.
I appreciate it. No, it's not always about the quality of the ingredients, it's about how you present them.
I'm like just not even really paying attention, but I'm just shoving porridge down my throat. But my eyes are locked on trash because I'm curious how could this plasma weird person possibly eat any kind of food? So I'm just dead staring at trash and waiting for her to take her first bite of porridge.
Are you doing this covertly, or you just, I
have no.
Okay, you have no covertness.
I have no tact at all. I'm just
Okay.
staring.
So, Trash, you see Floof just staring at you like just intent on whatever he wants to observe. He is just watching you like a hawk.
Yep. Yeah, if slime could roll its eyes, that's the equivalent of what I'm doing. And but being used to my fair share of just having people gawk at me or stare, I just kind of take it in stride and I start consuming the food, as it's very much like a facsimile of eating. Like, I do insert the food into my mouth, but then it just kind of gets sloshed around slime style, and then you can see it kind of move down my throat and disappear. So
I'm leaning forward like closer and watching it go down her esophagus into her stomach, and I continue to just stare.
Love it. This is like watching somebody dump cracker bits inside of a lava lamp.
Very much so.
But with that being said, you all have a nice breakfast alongside Domus and Sylvia. And not too long after finishing, he helped Sylvia get prepared for her lessons that morning, having her accompany you all, at least for a short portion, as I will go ahead and pull up the map of the city once more. It's the map, it's the map, it's the map, it's the map. You all right now are down here by S8. Down in the I would say the southeast quarters of the city. Not like the worst part of the city, but definitely not like the higher end. These are mostly like one-story, very utilitarian buildings. A lot of them are, it's hard to distinguish where the trade portion, the commercial portion, the working portion of the building is from the actual living quarters of the building. A lot of them are just like kind of hodgepodge together in these circular formats, almost like wagon caravan style. Very much for the working class individuals of the city in this portion of the area. But he escorts you up through the what's known as the Gilded Road towards the northern dock bridge, which is G10 here. As you all walk out into the morning air, you get that it's a mixture of flowing river water as well as just a slight tinge of salt and other minerals. As this portion of the river, this is the Prima River, the primary portion of the river, whereas the Serpent Secundus is the branch portion that's a little bit smaller, that kind of weaves off the map as we see it here. And it heads closer towards the capital of Magnolia, whereas this portion of the river heads down towards the sea in Mirstadt, as well as the Ragaru Delta. But it's already lively this morning. There are carts and people beginning to set up for the day. You notice along the bridge itself, it's a rather wide bridge, at least this one, and there's another one further south. That is the Bronze Bridge, as opposed to the Gilded Bridge that you stand on now. But all along both sides of the bridge, you see there are trade tents beginning to set up, merchants hawking their wares, people beginning to set up boats and fishing vessels to go out on the river, as well as smaller trade boats heading in both directions. You notice a lot of the larger ships use a combination of wind power and sails, as well as specialized engines that you see inside some of these larger vessels. The smaller ones are mostly either row-powered, human-powered, or wind-powered. But some of the larger ones have these arcane engines in them. You can't really see much, but they have this kind of, sputtery nature to them. Even the larger ones, and you see them begin to kind of, tugboat along back and forth across the river, especially the ones that are going against the current. A lot of those have these arcane motors at the back portion of these vessels. And you see this this very, very subtle plume of smoke coming out of the exhaust of these engines, and it has this subtle white and with a slight tinge of blue smoke coming off the back of these exhaust vents. But as you walk, you smell and hear the sounds of the city beginning to wake for the morning as all these merchants gather. And at the point where you get just past the opposite side of the Gilded Road and the Gilded Bridge, you're heading up and you see a large domed building to your left. This is one of the many guild halls, if you will, one of the many economic buildings that occupy this city, as trade as its primary source of power in this region. It is in a centralized point between the Dwarven Dominions, as well as the capital city of Magnolia, the better part of the Landgelt Alliance, as well as the Badlands north in Zendrum. So it has a very pivotal point among all this trade segment. So there is a lot of different guild halls, economic trade centers, banks, things of that nature that revolve around the moving of goods and wealth between the various parts of the continent. But once you get to this segment here, just between L5 and L9, you see Domus point off to one of the buildings towards the far end of the crossroads here, and he looks to Sylvia. You make sure you get to school and you stay there the whole time this day. I don't want to get another letter from your teacher saying that you've left early. And she kind of nods. You can tell she's still kind of stirred from the previous day, and she's got that scared straight look in her eyes as she kind of runs off at a very brisk pace towards the schoolhouse on the far south side of the city. At this point, Domus looks to you all. Oh, we're just about here. As he turns to the southwest in this large building in the middle, this L9 building on the map. This is our stop, and I will show you the facade of this building as you all have reached the Gilded Bull. So I try to move it.
Gilded Bull.
The Gilded Bull. As you reach this structure right at the crossroads, you've seen Sylvia kind of dart off to the left going south towards the city, and right at this intersection you look up and there's this large clock tower structure. Now there are other clock towers in the city of Tyrhelm, but this is the largest private clock, public clock face in the city, and the structure itself is primarily 3 stories tall, all the way around this rectangular block portion. And in the inside, you can see through some of the openings that there are passages into what looks like a very large and very luxurious-looking courtyard inside this whole block. Essentially, is the Gilded Bull, as well as the Barone Estates. So it functions as both the estate manor of the Barone family, as well as the main commerce hall for the Gilded Bull organization. And it is well appointed. You can see that the wood facades are well polished and well mannered, very high-end finishes, a lot of inlaid metal filigree in various areas to accent the structure itself. The windows there are plentiful, all covered with wooden shades, storm shades, as well as this magnificent looking clock face that it almost seems to project out a little bit, a bit unnaturally, if you will, as opposed to like a true mechanical clock where everything sits behind a pane of glass. This almost looks like there's a pane of glass that makes up the face of the clock, and then the hands themselves, as well as the markers along the rounded face of the clock, almost seem to sit out past that almost in the defiance of gravity, and float as they tick along through the course of the day. It's a very beautiful piece of mechanical hardware. As you approach this area at Domus's behest, you notice there's a number of individuals just inside this porticochere area, that are kind of guiding people in, turning some away, directing traffic, if you will. And behind them are a pair of very well-appointed, polished oak doors that are at least 10 foot tall and rounded and domed at the top. It's a very ornate entry. All right, you all, we're headed in. And he pulls the letter out of his pocket and, presents it to the two individuals, one of which is a well-armored human man with dirty blonde hair. The other is a half-orc like himself, with not quite as heavy armor, but like very built. Like this man, has the build of a gladiator, essentially. I mean, he is quite intimidating just standing there. But takes the letter, the human man takes the letter in his hand. Looks to be in order. It seems the manor owner has summoned you all. Very well. Wait in the parlor just inside, and one of his assistants will come and fetch you. As he steps aside, and so does the half-orc man, and opens the doors for you. And as you walk into the Gilded Bull's entry parlor, you are greeted with this strong smell of perfumes and incense. And on the ceiling, which is kind of this big vaulted wood trussed ornate ceiling, you see what looks like this really intricate conveyor belt system powering that are all looped together on these palm fans that spin ever so slightly, moving the air around the room on this leather belt system that kind of serpentines through all of them and then goes into an adjacent wall where presumably there's some motor powering them in one of the other rooms. But it's a very intricate system. The parlor is well appointed with leather and cloth-covered sofas. Again, there's a smell of perfume and incense, giving it a very fine and sophisticated air to the whole entry. On the opposite side, you see a very well-polished wooden desk with a pair of half-elven young ladies busily moving paperwork, signing documents, sealing documents, as well as preparing for the day's business. And as you enter, one of them looks at you all. You all have an appointment. And
I look at Trash because I'm still just following her and wondering what she's doing.
I
go ahead.
look at Dazes.
We are here to see the manor owner. And I guess I gesture towards... Did they take the note out of Domus's hand when he showed it to?
No, they would have handed it back, and Domus kind of lifts it up, affirming what you had just said. Oh. And she kind of comes out and kind of lifts up a portion of the desk, kind of, bank teller style, and approaches you all to take a look at the letter. Very well, very well. Let me go summon Mr. Barone, and I'll be right back in just a moment. And she takes the letter from you all and motions to have a seat. You all are waiting there for probably 10 or 15 minutes or so before she returns. Well, if you all will accompany me, the master is currently finishing up some other business, but he is expecting you. So come along. As she escorts you through a series of well-appointed hallways, some of which are just covered with fine artworks, vases, statues that look like each one could easily cost the average person's yearly salary, or yearly wages to finance the make of these. Just really lavish interior design of this place.
While we're walking down the hallways, I say to her, "This is all very impressive."
Yes, the madam of the house, this is all her doing. She has quite the eye for exotic, what would you call it? Very exotic artworks, if you will. She is quite the traveled mistress. But, yes, this is her doing. Despite that... Oh, go ahead.
I interject. I'm like, what's impressive here?
Pardon me?
What's impressive?
Are you not familiar with the art? Sir?
Sure. This art? I point at, I'm guessing some kind of vase.
Yes, that's a work of the Jamali dynasty. It's, well, over 100 years old. It's made from one of the finest ceramics artistries in that part of the continent. It's...
I pick up... I stop listening to her, and I pick up the vase, and I smell it. And I'm like...
You see a look on her face like you just slapped someone's sainted mother. Please, sir, please put that down. Please. I would hate to see what happened if that were to be damaged.
I accidentally tightened my grip too tight and smashed it into 100 pieces.
Oh, jeez.
You see, like, the color in her eyes and the color in her face sink as this vase smashes on the ground.
My limited people's... Okay.
Do you have any idea how much that costs?
I could tell that she's upset, and I reach into my pocket and pull out the 3 silver pieces that were given to me earlier and hand them to her and say, sorry.
That won't even cover the cost of the letter to get a new one commissioned.
I put the money back in my pocket and continue walking down the hallway.
Domus looks at you and says, "Perhaps you keep your hands in your pockets for the rest of this meeting, if you don't mind. I already have quite the debt. I don't need any more."
I kind of look down. I realize I don't have pockets and just kind of fold my arms in front of me and continue walking.
You see the half-elf woman kind of motion to one of the handmaidens to immediately go and get someone to clean this up before anyone of import sees it, and just please don't touch anything else. As she continues to escort you, and you head up a series of stairs to the second level, heading now towards another pair of very well-appointed metal filigreed red oak doors, and these are even more luxurious looking than the front doors that you walk through. I mean, this thing is, yeah. it's that kind of fancy, like some stuff you would see in like the finest like southern estates level of quality, and you hear a very low voice on the other side. Make sure that they come prepared for the next meeting. We do not have time in the future to be discussing this for the second, much less the third time. And as you hear this behind the doors, she softly knocks on the oak doors. Yes? Master Barone, your morning meeting is here. 4 individuals. Domus and his companions. Very well. See them in. And as she, casually unlocks pulls down the latch of the door, you see these two doors kind of effortlessly separate as you walk into this study, this well-appointed study. And again, it is the loungers that are on either side are these well-appointed red leather sofas, and behind those you see this very intricately carved desk with a pair of bull's heads carved directly into the four legs of this desk. And you see this gold inlaid filigree around the outside as it kind of curves like rope around the outside corners of the desk. Behind which you see a man, a very large human man, wearing this very fine furred overcoat and fine silk shirt, leather pants to match, and very finely black polished boots, carrying a large, heavy-looking cane between his hands as he sits up from his tall-back leather office chair and looks at you all coming through. And I have some artwork for you. Hopefully I can add this quickly to your journals and then just pull it up for everyone to look in the chat. Let's see, hold on. Let's to everybody's journals. There we go. And there we go. You see this man staring you in the face. He has a kind of salt and pepperish beard. Just a tiny bit remains of the color in his eyebrows of the darker brown hair. He has these thinly glowing crystal-like earrings on each side, kind of just barely touching the top of the furred overcoat as he stares at you all. Pleasure to have you here. Go ahead and have a seat. Margaret, see to it that the vase gets fixed. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As she swiftly closes the doors and kind of runs, you can hear her footsteps as quickly as possible the other way. You can tell just from his tone that this man doesn't miss a beat. But he reaches out his hand and points to the two sofas on each side that will easily sit all four of you, as he motions back to and sits back in his office chair behind his desk and looks at you all.
Take a seat.
Pleasure to have you here. My name is Miguel Barone. I am the proprietor here of the Gilded Bull. Today we have some business to discuss.
At this point, he initially looks at Domus, but then begins to look at you all.
I was informed yesterday when my daughter went missing that there was an incident, if you will, with some rather unsightly creatures out in the forest. Would you like to elaborate on what happened?
And he looks to you all.
They're all dead.
Quite.
That's all I have to say.
Yes, I can tell. Otherwise, I doubt you all would be here right now. But would somebody like to tell me why they had my daughter with them?
I guess I just explain the situation. I believe, was it, what was her name? Linda?
the redheaded girl, or
Yes.
his daughter?
Yeah, the redheaded girl.
Yeah, Linda.
Yeah. And I explained how Linda, and tell me if I'm wrong, how Linda came into the town looking for children to take back with her, and I believe took Christina, and then
Sylvia.
Sylvia followed,
Mm-hmm.
if I remember correctly, and then yeah, we followed them to the cave system, and yeah, rescue them.
Right. Children will be children. I was informed upon looking into this child that she is an orphan. But I wanted a confirmation, if you will, from those who were actually on the scene. I'm not angry at her specifically. I'm just a bit curious as I make it a note to be informed of everything that goes on in this city. And it frustrates me when I don't have all the answers.
At this moment, he kind of clicks his fingers, and normally it's a normal clicking sound, but when he does it, it's almost like it's amplified, if you will, and it's very sharp and very loud. And he calls out at one point. Hold on. Where am I?
While this happens, my ears perk up, and I'm staring at his fingers because I know that they shouldn't have made that noise.
Go ahead and give me an Arcana check.
Mm.
5. You can tell that something's amiss about it, but it's hard to tell what specifically he's doing. But you can tell there's something more to it than just the physical nature of him snapping his fingers.
Okay. I continue to just squint at his fingers throughout this entire conversation.
Right. But after he finishes snapping his fingers, you hear him call out, and his voice has this projective effect as he calls out.
Anders! Klein! Damien! Come here now!
As he calls out to the 3 that you are familiar with. And you hear this almost sprinting sound of footfalls coming across the hardwood floors towards the office as they, kind of bustle in through the doors. Yeah, boss! What do you need? What do you need? As you see the small halfling man kind of stumble in and almost get knocked over by his 2 larger companions.
I'd like you to explain your hand in what happened here today, as you were the ones who were supposed to be watching my only daughter.
Well, boss, we was coming to the carnival market, and we had Christina with us, and in that process, we noticed one of your patrons here, the Domus, as he sees Domus sitting down, and we knew that he hadn't been paying on time, and that he was supposed to be coming to you any time now, and we was watching Christina, and he you can see this man is just tripping all over his words. But we was told to better ourselves and to and at this point he waves his hand up and just immediately stands up, and you hear the heavy cane fall on the floor.
Sit down!
And as he says that in that tone, you see all 3 of them fall prone to the floor in a what's the word I'm looking for? Prostrated stance. like head slamming against the floor.
I stand up quickly and my arms extend like I'm ready. I'm in a defensive / attack mode. Like this guy is sus. I don't know. I don't trust him.
He sees your reaction to this.
My apologies. I'm a bit short on temper right now, and I apologize. These three were only tasked to watch my daughter. You can understand as a father, that is a task I don't give to others lightly.
And you hear... Go ahead.
I glance over at Trash to see how she's reacting to this situation.
I'm just taking in the scene. Like, I feel like generally my role is to stay quiet and observe, so this just reads very much like, you know, the big boss disciplining his lackeys, so to speak. So I'm just kind of,
right.
You know.
Give me, while you're observing this, Trash, give me an Arcana check.
Okay. That's a natural 20.
You recognize what he's doing immediately as the command spell.
Okay.
But the only thing that you notice is amiss by it is the command spell usually only targets one individual. This command spell that this man was issuing, not only did he not use verbal or somatic components, which are a necessity of the command spell, one of which being the actual command itself, but he made almost no somatic components, meaning like hand gestures, things of that nature.
Right. Right. Okay.
And he targeted more than one creature.
Right.
So you see that this is a powerful individual of the arcane arts.
Suddenly I am more interested after
this is
exchange.
You notice that there was no reading of scripture or text or anything like that. That it seemed like this arcane energy came directly from him.
Okay.
As it, kind of like he himself was the source of this energy. That it wasn't some sort of divine evocation. It wasn't some sort of read text. It wasn't some sort of component usage. Like the energy itself came like almost internally from his body. And you see the three individuals are just... and their heads are like slammed against the wood floor.
You three will be washing the stables until your fingers and your toes are bleeding. With that being said, I called you here,
as he stares at Domus and the three of you.
Not only to understand what had happened, but to make right the situation and show my appreciation. As I only have my one daughter. As young and foolhardy as she is my only family. As my wife has since passed away.
I look at Domus.
You see kind of a nod of affirmation from Domus as well. And you see kind of this recognition between two widowed men kind of looking at each other.
Now, I understand, Domus, that we had a prior agreement that you were to pay back your 500 gold loan. And I do appreciate what you've done for my family. But I can't simply forgive principal debt. However, with recent circumstances coming to light, the I would like to offer you commissioned work directly for my organization. One of my major ventures is the outfitting, training, and breeding of work and military thoroughbred horses for the city of Tierhelm and the surrounding areas. We are in need of additional blacksmiths for a recent commission directly to the noble house of the city. I am offering this commission directly to you, at which time, upon its completion, we will see that your remaining debt is stricken from the record. Does this seem amenable to you?
You see kind of a glow on Domus's face.
Yes, that would be amazing. Excellent. I would also like, if the work is satisfactory, that you stay on as our in-house smithy, if you will. And as a part of your salary, I will see to it that your young daughter, Sylvia, was it?
And Domus kind of nods.
That her education is sponsored by the Gilded Bull.
You see this look of just misunderstood elation. He doesn't know how to react, but he kind of,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I will see that the work is above your expectations. Excellent. As for you three, I have a bit of a assignment that I lack personnel for. And I need some additional help delivering some goods to one of the adjacent cities. I'm sure you all are familiar with Mirstadt.
No,
Well,
I'm not.
I know Dazes and Trash, you would be roughly familiar with it. More so, Dazes, you would definitely be familiar. Mirstadt is one of the major port cities of the continent.
Mhm.
I have a colleague there I'd like to deliver something discreetly to. And I do not have faith in the local couriers to do so. If you all would humor me and deliver this package, I would be more than willing to pay you a satisfactory commission.
I am not interested in this money or this transaction at all. I pull out the piece of leather that belonged to the most likely killer of my mother,
Okay.
and I say, I don't want money. I want to know whose this is, and I hold it out, and I kind of look at Trash because I know that she's kind of good at tracking, and I look at him because he clearly has a lot of power. So I just want someone to help me find out who killed my mother, and I'm suggesting that I will work for him if he helps me find my mother, but I'm also a little
Find the killer.
yeah, but I have a appreciation for Trash so far, so I kind of want to give her the opportunity, but I also don't care who does it. I just want to find out who killed my mom.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a persuasion check.
Okay.
Ooh. Ooh.
I'm afraid I don't offer those kinds of services, personally. But, seeing as how you did me quite a service in saving my daughter, I can certainly point you in the right direction for somebody who could help. The members of Magisterium Arcanum have a library here in the city. I would start there. They would be better equipped at identifying what this is.
As he
I can't read.
I don't think that will be a problem. It is more than just a place of study. It is it is also a research facility for members of the magistrate. If anyone in Tierhelm had the capacity to identify what this is, it would be there.
Okay, I put the leather back in my pouch or loincloth or somewhere, and I sit back down in the chair and just kind of look down at the ground, thinking while I listen to the rest of this interaction.
yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask if at the end of my conversation with Catherine, if there were kind of further instructions, or if it was more so kind of lay low and I'll have to wait to hear from her.
I was actually about to state, as you were having this conversation, and you, as Floof was discussing with Miguel Barone, you feel the sending stone begin to hum and vibrate in your pocket. You lift it out.
Is there like a way to like discreetly?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why, you couldn't just excuse yourself for a moment and step out of the room. If this is a conversation you don't want to share with everyone.
Well, yeah, if not yet, I think I'll just step outside and.
Okay. You kind of motion to the group that you have some immediate business to take care of, and this is, I would assume this is going on while Miguel and Floof are discussing what's going on with this piece of leather. As you step out and you lift the small stone from your pocket, you hear Catherine's familiar voice come over the small trinket.
Gosh, I have spoken to a friend and colleague in Tierhelm. Please bring the creature samples to Keeper Otik in the Magistrate Library.
And then the stone goes quiet once more.
Okay. Keeper Otik?
Otik. O-T-I-C.
OTIC.
My ears perk up, and I look at the stone, and I say, "Catherine," because you did tell me that was her name, right?
Yeah.
Name.
Okay. Yeah. Give me a perception check to see if you notice Trash walking out, because you were in conversation with. Yeah, you very much noticed out of the corner of your eye that Trash walked out for a moment to have this conversation. So, yeah, go ahead.
I say, "Catherine," and I completely ignore Miguel and start following Trash / Catherine out of the room.
Okay. I'm assuming Catherine meant the library in town, or like in the city.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
She said in the magistrate library.
Okay, so I'll just I basically just confirm. I say, okay, got you, and then I tuck the stone away as Floof is coming towards me.
Okay. While this is going on, Dazes, what are you doing during this whole conversation?
Well, I suppose I am responding to this gentleman's request.
The only one doing anything that matters.
And I say, yes, that would be amenable to me. I will have to make sure that my colleagues, and I guess I gesture towards the door, are also willing to take part.
Very well. Seeing as how I owe you a past debt for saving my daughter, I will pay you all in advance of the completion of said delivery. 100 gold now, and an additional 300 gold upon delivery.
My eyes visibly widen. That is a very generous sum.
Well, the task at hand requires appropriate payment. I am not a man of... I'm not a cheap man, for lack of a better word. I will pay appropriately for the appropriate amount of work and expertise. Of course, and your discretion. We have an understanding.
I agree to this.
Okay.
I'm just standing there. I'll pretty much do whatever anyone directs me to do with purpose / follow trash at this point. So I kind of shrug like, okay.
Okay. And as he's saying that, he's talking about discretion. You can hear the emphasis in his voice when he says the word discretion.
Mm-hmm.
What is discretion?
It means not asking questions when they aren't appropriate.
I still don't fully understand, but don't ask a follow-up question. Just kind of look around.
Very well.
You see, he reaches down into a side satchel on his hip, and you see that the side satchel is not much bigger than like a single pocket, like a single pants pocket. But you see his arm go all the way almost down to like past his elbow as he's reaching into this satchel, and as he pulls out a bag of coinage. So you can hear the movement of metal as he sets it down on the table, and he opens the satchel slowly and shows you all the appropriate amount of coinage that you all discussed, as he then cinches it tightly and pushes it across the table.
Very well. Thomas, I will expect you to be here on site early tomorrow morning. Begin work.
Domus nods.
Sure, sir. As for you three, please discuss with the tellers downstairs. They will hand you the package in question and the appropriate address and point of delivery. Does that make sense?
Yes, of course.
Well,
Now you see his eyes dart to the three men who are still prone on the ground, their faces like kind of slammed to the wood.
as for you three, I suggest you get to the stables right now and begin swiftly cleaning them, as I will require you for the next week or so to eat your dinner off of them. Now get out of my sight!
And you see the as he says sight, the whatever was holding these three men down is released, and you see like they were struggling to try to get up, like their muscles, and as that force holding them down was released, they all fly back against the wall. And one of which, slams his head against the wall, but they all are like, yes, sir! We're right away, sir! And they run. I mean, it's just this Three Stooges scramble as they leave the room.
I love it.
Very well. I appreciate you all coming with such urgency, and I look forward to hearing of your success. Have a good day.
At this point, Doma stands up and grabs the bag of coin and hands it to you, Dazes.
I believe this is yours. I've got some work to do, so once you all have what you need and are on your way, I'll see to my own affairs. But I do appreciate you all helping me. This is more than I could ask for.
I'm very glad it worked out for you, Domus. And I like slap him on the back.
I appreciate it. This is probably the brightest situational turn in quite some time. Maybe having you holding that coin has given us a bit of good favor, if you will.
Hopefully the favor continues.
Let's hope. Wish you all the best.
He follows you all. No, she who will not be named from Amazon. I do not need to talk to you right now. Sorry. I have a little Amazon device here on my desk for like controlling lights and like looking at my security cameras and stuff, and it just sometimes wants to talk. So apparently, ALEXA is canon in this universe. But you all are led back down as one of the tellers comes back at Miguel Baron's behest to escort you down to the parlor again. It takes a few minutes to write up some paperwork, but she writes up a contract and the stipulations of said contract, as well as the details of delivery. You read on the contract as she presents it to you that you are to deliver a package. It just says package on the contract. And on the behalf of Miguel Baron to the Hawk and Key is the name of the establishment that you're making this delivery to a gentleman by the name of Enrique Sandis.
Enrique Sandis.
I probably spelled Enrique wrong, so don't ask me on that one, but the last name is Sandis.
Very nice.
That is to an establishment called the Hawk and Key.
Do we have the package now in our possession?
So as she's writing this up, another teller comes to you all, and the package is it's about a 1 foot long cylindrical tube, like a wooden tube, and it has a faint silver ribbon around it, and has the same sort of wax seal on that ribbon, pressed against the ribbon to hold it tight. Almost like a proof of non-tampering seal, if you will, as this thing remains closed. And as you hold it, you don't hear anything jostling or anything. It is a finely made like tubular case of some sort with a latch on it, and the latch is underneath this silverish ribbon with a red wax seal of the Gilded Bull on top of it. The tube itself is about 1 foot long, and it's about, I would say, 2.5, 3 inches wide, kind of like a poster tube, if you will.
I impulsively grab the tube and smell it.
Okay. Give me either Arcana or investigation check of your choice.
Doesn't make much of a difference. Here we go. Woo!
Oh my god, was that a nat 20?
Ooh.
Okay. You smell. There is a mineral. It is extremely faint. It for anyone else, they would not have noticed this at all. But with that such a high roll, that nat 20, you smell this like mineral scent, almost like if you've ever been around a quarry or anyone cutting things with cutting stone with a saw. It has sort of that smell to it. And accompanying that smell, even more faintly, you can sense this charge of energy kind of rippling across your nose, ever so faintly, behind the scent of fine wood of the case, which would otherwise mask this scent. But and then also you get this this smell of this metallic smell. You can't place what it is, but that's what you get from while you're sniffing this package. You have this scent of carved stone, this electrical, almost arcane charge to it, and you also get the scent of like worked metal below the otherwise overpowering wood smell.
Okay, so the arcane energy and the metal, both unnatural things that I'm not particularly fond of. I after I get this smell, I toss it away. I
Oh
like
my god.
throw it
No,
away.
no, no.
Does somebody catch it?
Yeah, could we try
Yes.
to catch it?
Yeah, go ahead. Give me give either or. You can give me an acrobatics check to try to catch it as Floof throws it away.
Acrobatics or what?
Acrobatics. Just acrobatics to see if you can catch it.
Oh, thank goodness.
Oh yeah, with ease. You're just like you see him like toss this away, and you immediately instinctively kind of step up on one foot, push off of the edge of the desk, and grab it out of the air before it has any time to contact with anything. And you see the look on the teller's face of just abject horror as this man is like, one of the same people is staring there like like that look of if you've ever dropped like a glass of water on expensive electronics, like that look of like imminent failure incoming. But you see like her heart almost sink or rise up in her chest almost, and she lets out a sigh of relief as you catch the tube. Please don't do that again. Please don't let him hold anything of value. Please.
I glare at the object and just say evil, and I don't want to touch it again anyway.
Okay.
Do we have
So
like a bag or something to hold it in?
I was just gonna ask, because for one of my infusions, I chose to replicate a magic item,
Okay.
and I chose the bag of holding.
You got it. So
Do I have it?
Yes. So with your infusions, you would be able to. So you could add. I think. Let me double check. Let me look at your character sheet. I forget. Artificer is a little weird. So again, I haven't personally played one, but I can take a look at it and help you set it up here. I think. Let's see. If not, I'll just overrule and say that you have it. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Let's see. Inventory. Replicate magic item. Using this infusion, you replicate a particular magic item. You can learn the infusion multiple times. Each time you do so, use magic replicate. Okay. Yes, it doesn't say that like you need material. So I just assume you all have a backpack of some sort, so you could use that as the material for infusion. So yes, you do have it. Yeah, it's in your inventory. So if you go under inventory, next to backpack, you should see the bag of holding.
Bag of holding. Nice.
Yeah, so you have a bag of holding, yes. So if you wanted to, you could put this item in the bag of holding.
Yeah, I'm gonna open up the bag towards Dazes, and I'll be like, I can hang on to it if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and slide it in.
Okay. You slide it in, and again, the bag that Trash is holding is again similar to the one that Miguel Barone was holding. It, like volume-wise, should not be able to hold such a long item. It's like the bag that she's holding out is probably only like 6 or 8 inches deep, and this tube is well in excess of a foot. But it goes in without effort into this this satchel that she holds up.
I immediately reach for the bag, curiously.
Nope, I snatch it away.
Experience in that field.
All right. With that, what would you all like to do? You have your task at hand, your delivery to Mirstadt, which is one of the neighboring cities of the Landscale Alliance. And you, Trash, you have your communication with your mentor or patron of sorts.
I think first thing I will approach Dazes and be like, I hate to be uncouth, but I would like to have my share of the gold, if that's okay with you. I think we should perhaps prepare for our journey ahead. I have to make a trip to the library. If you're welcome to accompany me if you'd like, but afterwards we should perhaps prepare, get some rations, and then set foot the following day.
Oh, well, yes, of course. Thank you for reminding me. And, I guess we'll split up the gold evenly. You just said it was 100?
100 initially, yes.
Okay.
I would take 33. I don't care who gets the extra coin.
I'm gonna give you 34.
Okay.
And
I hold out my hand. It's just out.
I give you 1 coin. Just to see how you react.
I growl. I growl at you.
Alright, and I'll give you the other 32.
And when you give that to me, I say, "What name?" Because I don't think I've asked you your name yet.
Oh. What? Because when you just said what name, I was like, huh? So I say, excuse me?
Who are you?
Oh. I go by Dazes.
Dazes, stupid name.
I frown, and I say, yours can't be much better.
I'm Floof. What's funny?
I laugh, like, your name.
Why?
It's silly.
What's silly?
Your name.
Floof?
Yes.
Why funny?
At this point, I give up.
I look at Trash, because she seems to be the only person who has interacted with me and seems to be able to communicate me in any way. And I look back at Dazes, and I just look back and forth until something happens.
Well, I'm gonna go to the library now. Floof, I think that Miguel mentioned that could be a good place for you to start looking for some answers. And you will most likely need a babysitter, so if you'd like to come with me, and then I just start heading that way, hoping that he'll follow.
I say, okay, and I smile, and I'm just following trash.
And I'll just be like, Dazes, you are welcome to come with. I don't know if you have your own things to do, but I had to get this guy moving. Just keep walking.
Yeah, I follow. And I said, I'd be glad to.
All right. With that, if you guys want to take a quick, I need to use the restroom really badly and grab some more to
I gotta
drink.
pee so bad.
So I think that's a good place to take a little. We'll be back in, let's say, 5 minutes past the hour.
All right, sounds good.
All right. So I'll throw a little quick bit of music on, and we'll be back in just a minute, guys, with some more Epics of Irondale. If you guys want to talk to chat, if you're not grabbing anything, but I'll be back in just a sec. I desperately need to use the restroom. So you all have a journal in the top right. I think it's right in the middle next to that music note on the left. So any characters or NPCs or anything that I've added to your journal should show up there in case you need to reference it. Let me... So there'll be 2 images, T, in your inventory, or in your journal. One is the one face and one is the other.
Okay.
Let me add that real quick. Should one side pop up in your inventory now, and then
Yep.
There's the other side.
Got it.
All right. Yeah, you all under Pantheon should have the symbol of Mystra as well. That's the entire symbol, but most of the time you just see one of the I'll go ahead and pull it up so other people can see it, but you should see the symbol of Mystra as the only thing in the Pantheon for everybody. Let me here. It's that symbol. So basically it is a circular format. Most of the time you just see the 8-pointed compass on most people, but the actual symbol of Mystra is a circle with those strands of magical weave in the middle, and then you see 7 of those compasses, and each side of the compass, the 8 points, represents one of the 8 schools of magic. Hence why it is, each one of the ends of the compass, north, south, east, west, and then the intermediary directions of the compass represent the 8 different schools of magic.
Neat.
Okay.
And that's pretty common for anybody who's seen that symbol, and most people know what it is because it's the symbol that the Magisterium Arcanum chooses to use as their predominant symbol, some variant of it. But you'll always see that like sort of 8-pointed compass at some point.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's get back into things. Thank you for everybody for sticking around. You all leave the Gilded Bull, having discussed business with Miguel Barone, as well as having him take a look briefly at Floof, that piece of leather that you had found at the scene of your late mother's death. And you now have a contract to deliver a otherwise undisclosed package to an Enrique Sandis in the city of Mirstadt, one of the other major cities of the Landsgeld Alliance. But you all, before heading out on that venture, are headed to the Magistrate Library here in the city of Tierhelm. As Trash, you are expecting to deliver the remains of the creature that you all slew in the caverns to a Keeper Otik. And then also, you were told, Floof, by Miguel Barone, that if anyone would be in the city or nearby that could identify anything about the piece of leather that you have with you, it would be someone there at the Magistrate Library, a member of the Magisterium Arcanum. So let me go ahead and pull up the Tierhaven, or Tierhelm. Sorry, Tierhaven's a city in another campaign setting. Hence, I merged two different city names together to get that name. It's kind of a nod to them because I really enjoy that campaign. So that's where the name comes from.
Nice.
There's a couple different nods throughout this world of different things that come from different franchises that I love, like Dune and Lord of the Rings, as well as that campaign setting and a couple other fun things I really like in various science fiction and fantasy lore.
Looking forward to it.
So you all are... I need to check the right map. Add DM. All right. Right now you are at L9, just on the sort of the northern or northeastern corner of the Gilded Bull, and we'll assume probably you were told by the tellers that the Magistrate Library, or even Miguel Barone would have told you that the library is on the north edge near the Tierberg Palace. This large building is the Tierberg Palace at the end. That the library is just adjacent to it here at H3, on the north side of the palace. So as you head up the streets, you begin to see that these manor houses are getting larger and larger and more luxurious. You see a large concrete and stone retaining wall as there's a road going almost due north down into the Estates District, a very affluent neighborhood on the north side of the city here. But there's a large retaining wall with a large buttressed tower that almost exudes from the edge of this retaining wall, holding up the northernmost portion of the city as it gets closer and closer to the Cape Side drop-off of the city as it rises almost, we'll say probably about 80 foot naturally, and then an additional 30 or 40 foot at its highest point on some of these walls to the outside. So from the plains on the very edge of the map to the top of one of these buttress towers, it's probably about 100 foot elevation difference from the top of the tower to the bottom of those plains. Were you to fall from one of the tops down the steep slope of the natural walls of the city. But as you pass, you come closer into the Palisade Square. To your left, you see a large statue here of one of the ancestral members of the Tierberg family, a man carrying a large spear, and he is driving it out. He's wearing almost gladiator-esque, very open armor, and anyone who's been in this city would generally know that this is one of the forebearers of the city, one of the initial founding members of the Tierberg family, who was well known for sport fighting as well as renting this area from enemies of the state, if you will. Basically helping to stabilize the city and the surrounding area, allowing it to become as prosperous as it is today. So that individual of the Tierberg family is memorialized here in this marble statue. But as you head almost directly towards the palace, you make a hard right. You see this domed building to your right, and as you all are looking at it and approaching it, you see it's a mixture of marble and onyx, a very stark difference of black and white, almost like the marble has this vein-like texture to it. If you've ever seen natural marble, it has these mineral deposits that run through it like veins in the body through it, but it also is starkly contrasted by the dark onyx color of the adjacent stone. You look at it, and as you're walking up, it almost seems like it's not straight. Like it's not plumb as it goes from foundation to the edge of the circular pyre at the top of this dome. And you look at it, and every time you look at it in a different direction, it seems to change. Like you can't get a bearing on whether or not it's straight. And every time you feel like you've got it, you look at it again to confirm, and it changes again. And it's very odd. And you see that occasionally there are other tourists doing the same thing, looking at it going, what? But those who have been around this and members of the magistrate that you see walking in and out of the building don't seem to pay it any mind, as if this is a normal occurrence. But at this point, you are outside. You see the large, almost storefront-like doors made of stained glass, kind of domed to match the... and they have this textured effect as you approach the front doors that kind of mask the inside, but also give you kind of a distorted view of the entryway to the library inside. But at this point, you have reached the magistrate library. What would you like to do?
So I'm standing outside of the library, and I'm noticing this weird, like, effect or something that's going on, and I'm staring at it. I'm literally standing still and just growling, because I don't trust whatever this is. I don't know why, but I don't like it at all.
A young mage, garbed in long robes, with an emblem of the magistrate on his left shoulder, kind of looks and hears you growling at the building and kind of gives you an awkward look, and then just kind of turns and keeps walking, seeing you snarl at this at the building.
Is this mage, does he have a wand on him or anything or like a staff?
Give me a perception check.
Okay.
The 14. You don't see like a staff, but you see kind of the edge of a what is probably some manner of arcane focus, kind of fastened to his right hip. But it's hard to tell. It could just be part of his clothing, or it could be, some sort of, but you initially deduce that it might be some sort of arcane focus, like a wand or some sort of rod of some sort.
Okay, so I pick up on this unnatural magic type something. Even though I don't know what it is. I hate it right off the bat, and I approach him and grab for it because I want to break it.
Okay. To break his arcane focus, or break what you see as a focus.
Yes.
Okay.
Do I see him like approaching?
Yes, you would have seen him snarling with your passive perception, and at this point, yeah, you see him kind of approaching this young man who's a solid foot shorter than he is. This young.
Can I try to get in between and just kind of try to
square
up and just look at Floof?
Right. We're gonna go ahead and roll opposed checks here. So, Floof, I'd like you to give me we'll go ahead and to see how this falls out. Go ahead and roll a straight dex check. So roll up at the top. You'll see dexterity. You should be able to just roll a d20 and add your dex modifier. And Quirky, I'll have you do the same thing.
I got a 12.
12. Okay.
11 plus dex to 13.
13. So 13 beats a 12. So Trash, you step in, seeing this angry advance towards this young man, as he hasn't really noticed other than like the snarling, hasn't noticed Floof, approaching him to grab at this item. As you step in front and kind of preempt this assault. What do you say to Floof as you do this?
I can kind of just see that he's confused and very mistrusting of, kind of there's a pattern of mistrusting things that he doesn't understand or in the realm of magic, and I just kind of have to say, Floof, I know you don't like magic or you don't like stuff that you don't really understand, but you like me and you don't really know what I am. So can you please just leave that person alone? I don't know what I am, and I think I'm made of magic, but you like me, right?
My initial impulse is to ignore trash and still go towards this thing that I don't like, but she makes a little bit of sense to me, so I do stop. I look at her. I look her up and down. I even give it a little smell, and I scoff. I'm unhappy about not attacking this unnatural source, but I do put my head down and say to trash, sorry, and that's it.
Okay, I know, magic and the arcane arts, it's really, it can be terrifying and awful and scary, but it can also be wonderful and healing, and I am working just as hard as you to try to understand it, because I had something really wonderful come across me because of magic, and I know something maybe terrible happened to you, and maybe that's why you don't like it, but as long as we stick together, we try to work really hard to try and understand magic. I promise it's not always gonna be dangerous, but we'll look out for each other, right?
Magic killed Mother, but fine.
Well, I'm really sorry to hear that. I didn't have a mother ever, or a father. I don't really know anything about how I became, but I know that I became, and it was because of magic. So, I want to help you get some answers, but I think you might have to use magic to get those answers.
I clench my fists and I'm angry. My stance becomes stiff and frustrated. And I start tearing up a little bit and just say, I know nothing.
I imagine I'm pretty short compared to him, so I'm trying to do a there, but it's probably reaching like his calf.
Yeah, I imagine you're probably, at most, you're probably able to hit the bottom part of his thigh. Or his hip, yeah.
You know what? I was gonna say that I put my hand on the shoulder, but I think I'm actually a small creature as well.
I think we agreed you were medium, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think, you would start as medium. So, yeah, you would probably, just as you're reaching up, like, not like uncomfortably, but yeah, you would be probably halfway to 3/4 of the way reaching up to pat him on the shoulder.
Just for a couple seconds.
Okay, I feel it. I look at both of you, kind of in the eye, I put my head down, and my eyes are continuing to be watery, and I'm confused. I don't know anything that's going on here. I don't know what happened to my mother. I don't know what these coins are and why people think it's important. I don't know this mission we're on. I don't know anything, and I just, as soundly as possible, just say, help me learn.
Aw.
I will. I will, because I'm learning too, so we can help each other out, you know? If you don't want to go in the library, it's okay. It's a scary building, and I know. If you want to stay out here, I could go in. I won't be that long, and then I'll come back out. I promise.
No, I come with.
Okay. Then, we'll stick together. It's gonna be okay. I gotta wait for him to gather himself, and then we can slowly make our way into the building.
I don't say another word. I don't make any eye contact with anybody, but I do follow, because these two. Well, one more than other, but I still feel an attachment towards the other one because he's here. I follow.
Okay.
I want to
Go ahead.
take this opportunity after we have that moment. I do want to ask the young mage. I want to turn to them and ask, do you know this statue? Why is it so eerie? Why is it always crooked?
The building is crooked. The statue is not. Like the building that you're approaching, the library is the crooked one. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
Oh, you approach this young man. It's a he has kind of a he looks almost humanoid, but he has kind of a paler complexion. Like a not a very humanoid complexion. And you as you look closer, you see his eyes almost have like a pitch black quality to them. Like this young man, even though he looks human, he's at just your initial glance, he isn't hiding the fact that he's not human very very well, or not intending to. But he turns to you and looks and says,
"Oh, this is the Magistrate Library. It's it's made of a combination of marble and an arcane infused mineral, not unlike onyx. It for those who are unused to it's supposed to, its architecture and as it was built was to sort of mimic the ebb and the flow of the weave itself as the arcane energies pass through it, as do all things in life. So it's meant to kind of mimic the weave itself, hence why it doesn't stand quite straight as a normal building would, as its construction itself was done using the arcane architecture.
It's fascinating.
Quite. It's such an amazing way they do it. I couldn't even begin to fathom it. I'm just an early pupil of its study, but my focus is in other means, of course. So, but I am familiar with having been here for a couple of years now.
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you giving me some of your time to explain that. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you so much. And he kind of looks and sees your large friend who was growling earlier. Is he all right? It didn't seem. I hope he wasn't growling at me.
He's fine. Yes.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
All right. Yes. If you have any further questions, I would consult one of the keepers here in the library. They can provide you more detailed information than I can.
Of course. Thank you.
Very well. You have a good day. As he kind of walks away and begins to step through the obfuscated, wavy glass doors into the library itself. Do you all proceed into the library?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I almost zombie-like just kind of follow behind, and yes.
Okay. I love it. But yeah, you proceed through these wavy glass doors. The like I said, the structure of this building is almost has sort of an organic nature now that you know more about it, and that its very construction was made in kind of unison with the ever-flowing nature of the arcane itself. Hence, its strange design and appearance to the outside world. But as you step inside, you are greeted with this warm, atmospheric, almost naturally occurring, densely packed library. There are well-appointed, polished tables all around. You see 2 floors of rows and rows of books and scrolls. You see large gilded-topped pillars with marble pillars themselves with gilded filigree on top and bottom, and it's almost like the marble itself is flowing like water up and down the columns. At the very back, behind all these tables and books, is a large rounded staircase where this humongous angel oak tree is sprouting out directly from the foundation of the library itself, and its branches seem to not only hold up the spiraling stairs themselves, but sprout up through the floor and make up the balustrades as you walk around and see the railings. All the intermediary balustrades of the railings themselves seem to be organic. They don't seem to be cut in any way. They seem to be naturally intertwining the railings themselves, as if nature had assisted in the construction of this library itself. And you notice that the tree, given, and this is kind of not what's shown in the picture, but the tree itself kind of mimics the other seasonal colors outside, as if to show the outside world on the interior of this building. And it extends almost all the way up towards the glass dome that you see above on one side of the library. And at this point, you see a number of different individuals, robed individuals, some in more common garb, as this is a public institution, funded not only by the magistrate, but by the city of Tierhelm itself. So you see a number of different individuals, mixed backgrounds all over the library, pulling books and scrolls. All knowledge in this, at least in this part of the library, is considered public. But on the right-hand side as you walk in, you see a large desk, and behind said desk you see an Aarakocra woman, basically a bird folk, and she is she has a nice green, like an emerald green vest on. But you notice walking around that in addition to the many mages and individuals of the magistrate, you also notice several individuals that wear similar colors. These appear to be members of the library itself, its keepers, if you will. And she is in the process of cataloging various books, moving to and fro from the library grounds. Or I shouldn't say the library grounds, but from the shelves to the various tables. You see one of the major rules. There's a plaque to the right of her. One of the very first rules is that the states that all knowledge of the library is considered public, but that knowledge must remain within the library. So you don't see anyone taking scrolls and books out of the library. You just see them moving from the shelves back and forth to the tables and things of that nature. But with that said, what would you all like to do? You are inside. Everything is well appointed. The air seems fresh, as if the tree itself is fundamentally part of the filtration of the interior air of this space. And it seems far fresher and far more open than any other building or space that you've been in thus far inside of Tierhelm.
My mood seems to, I don't know, get a little bit better just because you could see a visible perking of my ears and eyes just because I could getting a whiff of this fresh air, which is a breath of fresh air.
Literally.
Yes. In this otherwise, town of toxic smells and whatnot. So my mood does seem to lift, but I still am unsure what to do during my little existential crisis that I'm having.
Crash and Dazes, what are you doing as you enter the grounds of the library?
I will probably approach the Aarakocra
Yeah, Aarakocra. Yeah.
and just basically inform them that I'm trying to look for Keeper Odic.
Okay.
And I'm here on an errand, basically.
Oh, welcome to the library. I am Keeper Cassandra. Yes, you're looking for Keeper Odic.
Yes, please. I'm here by the request of Catherine, and I'm just trying to meet with Keeper Odic.
Mistress Catherine sent you. Oh well, I didn't know she had a pupil of her own. She's always been quite objective to teaching anyone, so that's a very pleasant surprise. Yes, of course. Let me see if he's here on site today.
As she kind of scrolls through her records, she kind of flips through and give me an insight check while she's doing this, Trash.
Was 10, just 10.
10. You notice that as she keeps saying that she's looking for Keeper Odic, there's this bit of hesitation in her looking for the record that whether or not he's here. It's not so much that she's trying to hide, she just seems kind of nervous when talking about Keeper Odic. And that's what you kind of gleam from watching her stance as she flips through the records. But she does find the information and she turns back to you.
Yes, he should be in his office, his research room. It is on the second floor, and it is you'll need to go up the main staircase and then take a right, and then at the very end you'll see a rather dimly lit area. That is the private offices of a number of the keepers. Keeper Odic is at the very far end of that center hallway, at the very end if you keep going straight down. You shouldn't be able to miss it.
Okay. Thank you. Is everything all right? Is there perhaps something I need to know?
Have you ever met Keeper Odic before?
No, I confess I have not.
Ah. He's a bit of an odd one, that one. do be careful when you... He's a bit of, how do I put this? He's, he doesn't show a lot of restraint when he's researching, and sometimes that results in, incidents.
Oh.
So I would recommend just a bit of caution. He's not a bad person. He's just a bit too curious for his own good.
Yes, I suppose I know the type. Well, thank you. And I make my way towards the direction that she indicated.
Okay. You head up this spiral staircase, and at this point you can smell the air coming off of this tree is very, very reminiscent of the large oak tree you would find in nature. It is, for all intents and purposes, a naturally occurring tree, but in most cases it wouldn't survive in this environment. But because it has such a large supply of natural light coming in from the dome ceiling above, as well as it is being magically sustained and maintained by the magistrate here in the city of Tyrhelm, it seems to be thriving in this otherwise unnatural environment. And you can see that it's kind of a display of a mixture of the natural arcana of the world as well as the unnatural arcana and magecraft of the world. It's quite a chaotic sight that shouldn't otherwise exist in the world, a combination, if you will, but somehow it does, and it works here. And it's quite the wonder to see as you walk up. But as you're walking, you see various people exchanging books on the shelves. You see a number of young mages who are very much, they appear to be, novice in nature. Some of them are very young, like, in their early teens, if not younger, pulling books off the shelf. Some trying to practice without getting up on the ladders, practicing their early cantrips like Mage Hand and to try to grab books above. Some very successful, others not so much, as one young mage. He actually pulls it off pretty successfully, but you see the jubilation on his face as he seems to have been successful in grabbing this very heavy tome. Not heavy enough that it would subvert the power of the Mage Hand, but just below that point where he's trying to pull down this book that's just barely being held up by this Mage Hand, and had he not succeeded, it probably would have fallen and hit him in the face. But you walk past this and you end up in the hallway that was described to you by the one of the other keepers, and you walk down, and this part is a bit more dimly lit, lit more by candlelight and a number of sconces you see spread out throughout the library that have this this light blue tint and color to them. These tiny little stones at the end of what look like normal candles, but it's not normal candlelight like a flame. This emitted light is coming off is more reminiscent of natural sunlight coming off of these little mineral deposits at the end of the candle tips. Again, you continue to approach, and you come to a door at the end of the hall as you were instructed, and you see a placard at the end, and you see the letters K.OTIC for Keeper Otik. And as you read that to yourself, you say, K.OTIC. K.OTIC. K. And as you get closer to the door, you hear this kind of chatter of a creature just on the other side of the door.
Yes, Yes, I found it. I got it. I'm almost there. And boom. You feel this force coming from the other side of the door. And this bassy tone as before you went to grab the door, the force of whatever was on the other side almost pushes the door completely off of its hinges as it swings out. I need all three of you to make a dexterity saving throw for me, please.
Easy.
Natural 20.
Let's go.
I got a natural 1. Is that like the number one worst possible thing?
Yes, that's a failure. Okay. 19.
Not
Okay.
a 1.
Trash and Dazes, you manage to dive out of the way as this door swings over, almost flying off the three hinges on the other side, but swings out as this blast of expanding air pushes it out of the way. Floof, unfortunately, you are slammed against the wall by the door, and you take 2 points of bludgeoning damage.
What? All right.
As you are pinned between the door and the wall, as this blast of hot air and smoke begins to billow out the door. And then as this smoke comes out, you see a number of other individuals from the adjacent offices. He's done it again. Just let him be. We'll clean it up later. Oh, old chaotic, again at it again. And inside the room, as the smoke kind of begins to billow out and clear, you hear this chattered coughing, like, oh, God. I didn't expect the Lunarium to be quite so intense. The reaction was far more than expected. And as this smoke begins to clear, and you guys kind of poke your heads into the room, you look up and hanging from this contraption on the ceiling, almost by like a whatever remains of this apparatus that this individual used to move about the room seamlessly, controlled by the arcane, you see a small cobalt hanging upside down with all manner of contraption either destroyed, mangled, or covered in soot inside this cluttered, just chaotic office. As he looks down at you all, and I have some artwork for you of Master or of Keeper Odic.
My word.
Let's see. Try do your journals. I will pull him up for everyone to see. You see this man in this darkish blue robe. It's a bit singed in places, and he's got kind of a palish brown complexion to him. A long snout, kind of very gaunt figure, and these kind of pale, recessed yellow eyes as he kind of looks down at you. And currently he's got this kind of head apparatus it's kind of like a jeweler's scope with various little crystal lenses to zoom in and out of a specific area. And around him, you see this insane looking apparatus of various of these light blue crystals kind of strung up in various directions and focal points through lenses and all sorts of things, kind of suspended, some of which have been jettisoned off in all directions due to this arcane anomaly that just exploded in his face. But he looks down at you all.
Oh, welcome. Sorry about that. I'll be down in just a moment.
As you see a pale white mage hand begin to try to like unhook the various ropes and stuff that are suspending him and lower him down safely. Let's see if he's capable. Okay. It takes him a minute to do it, but he is able to get down safely as he dusts himself off.
Yeah, sorry about that. What can I do for you today?
You're sure you're okay?
It happens. I mean, it's magic. It goes awry sometimes. What can I say?
You're not wrong.
Can I check to see what kind of, or get a feel for what kind of magic this is, if it's like natural or unnatural magic?
It's very much unnatural magic. It's if you want to give me, are you proficient in Arcana?
No.
You are not. It would be very difficult if you didn't have prior training to know what school of magic this was that he was trying to work with. But you can definitely tell that it is not a nature-based form of magic, is what I can tell you.
Okay. So I cover my nose because the soot and everything is unpleasant to that.
Oh, sorry about that.
As he begins to wave his hands around, and you see he's casting prestidigitation to try to, couple all this soot and kind of clean it up as he goes. It takes him about 5 or 10 minutes to kind of get the majority of it, but you see that most of it he kind of collects into the middle of the room with little difficulty. It seems like this has happened more than once.
Okay. I could obviously tell that it's unnatural magic, which I have kind of an inherent, disdain for. So I do clench my fist, but I'm in a bit of a self-reflective spell right now after talking with Floof and Dazes a little bit earlier. I'm a little confused. I clearly know that I don't understand everything. But again, I clench my fist. I really want to just start attacking this person, but I just kind of slump my shoulders and let out a sigh, and I'm not ready to act on this. So I do stop myself from attacking him, but that's it.
Welcome to the library. What can I do for you?
I don't know if you had knowledge of the recent string of missing persons in this city.
Not a whole lot. I've heard about it. Nasty business that. But
yes.
Can I help you with it? Did they catch him finally?
Well, we discovered the source of these disappearances, and it was a creature that I've never seen before. It kind of had like a one eye, and it had like a lot of teeth, and it could kind of creepy talk, and it had lots of like tentacles and like babies and stuff.
Okay, it had one eye, tentacles. Did it spit anything at you?
It did.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Floof would know because he got hit with it.
Well, I almost know what that is, but that sounds like a mimic. And mimics don't talk.
Well,
You said this one talked?
Yeah, I'm here on behalf of Mistress Catherine.
Catherine sent you. I didn't know she had a pupil. That's amazing.
Our relationship is it's undefined.
Fair enough.
But I have a sample of this mysterious creature, and if you would like to inspect it?
Of course! I'd love to see it! I love new things! Come on, show me!
And he just eagerly, he just pushes a bunch of books and stuff off of his desk and makes space for you to set what you have and present it.
I think I had it in a jar.
Okay.
I put down the vial or the jar, and I kind of. I guess.
Well. Let's have a look here.
And you see the little lenses on his head apparatus kind of pop down over his eyes and just begin to zero in on the vial. And he grabs a plate, like a porcelain plate, probably used to eat his lunch off of, but kind of rubs it off with the end of his coat and sticks it on the table and uncorks the bottle that you had given him and pours what remains are on of this creature.
That is interesting. Quite interesting. Do you have a moment? Or are you all in a hurry? Because I can definitely get to the bottom of this, but it's going to take me about 10 minutes or more to and I don't want to hold you up, but I could definitely, examine this and give you a better idea of what it is.
I interject. I pull out the piece of leather from my pocket and hold it up, and I'm like, "What is? Who is this?"
He kind of looks back at you as you say this.
It looks like leather, but wait a minute.
And you see again that contraption kind of pop down over his eyes. He kind of runs up on you and looks like straight up at you and gets uncomfortably close. Like it seems like this individual doesn't have a sense of personal space. Like he really, he gets like right up in your business.
Oh, curious.
Right.
Okay.
My stance definitely stiffens, and again, my impulse is to really attack this person, but I just stay still. I keep it held out exactly where it is, and I listen.
I try to give the keeper Odic some context. Like, my friend here has a piece of leather, and he thinks it might have come from whoever had brought harm to his mother, and we don't know if there's any way you could ascertain any sort of information about this person from this piece of leather, but
Maybe not the person, but there's definitely something on this leather. Something unusual. Hey, if you give me some time, I can certainly look at both.
While we're at it, and I'm gonna pull out my coin that I got, my fake coin of fate that I got from Domus, and I'll gesture towards the residue that was on it. And I'll say to him, do you mind taking a look at this as well?
He immediately does the same thing, runs up on you, and it like just gets uncomfortably close as he looks up at this coin that you presented. At this point, I'll go ahead and add it to everybody's journal, just because now everyone in the group has seen it. So you have a context of what you are showing. Can I not?
I see this, and the coin that was given to him by Domus earlier, and I think that my coin has some kind of importance. So with my other hand, while my leather's outstretched in one hand, I hold out a common piece of silver with my other hand and expect it to have some importance.
Right. Give me one sec, guys. I gotta reload Roll20 on my end as the DM because I think something's being screwy. There we go. Okay, hold on. Let me add this to everybody. So you'll see two coins. They're the same coin. It's just each side that you're seeing. You see one with the face of Taimura, the gilded gold inside, and then you'll see a darker tarnished side on the other side, which is the face of Bashaba, her twin sister. right. And he again, you see the mechanism kind of move back and forth as he focuses in and out on the coin, specifically the residue that you're mentioning. Well, this is y'all just came with all sorts of fun toys. Yeah, I can certainly take a look at them, and seeing that you're a pupil of Catherine's, absolutely. I haven't seen Catherine in many, many moons. Not since I was quite the spry individual. But he walks over and immediately grabs the plate. Go ahead and set him on here. I need to run some tests on him. As he runs up to you, Floof, and you, Dazes, to have you set the items on the plate next to the remains of the creature that you slew.
I'm hesitant to part with this piece of leather, but make a glance at Trash.
How big is a piece of leather, for context?
I would assume it's probably no more than 5 or 6 inches across by 5 or 6 inches across.
I'll set mine on the plate.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you want to cut off a small piece just to keep it with you, and then we can give this other piece over to Keeper Odic?
I'm not gonna damage it. I need it in a centralized place. I've got to put it inside of a circle. I'm kind of spent on resources, so this, I gotta take a closer look at this. But, I can do this. It's just gonna take a bit of time. But they need to be all in a kind of a centralized location for me to look at them. I gotta get them inside of a ritual circle, if you will.
Okay, but you're not gonna do anything to it.
No, of course not.
Okay. So you're okay with that, Floof?
I look at it's Kotick, right?
It's Keeper Otik.
Odic.
Yeah.
Did he tell us his name yet?
No, but you saw the placard on the office door. He didn't
All right.
directly introduce himself. He's a bit of a crass individual.
Okay, so I ask, U.K. Otik,
Yeah, I'm Keeper Odic.
you lose, you die. And I reluctantly set it on the table or whatever.
Roll intimidation for me.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have much trouble. You are solid 5 times larger than this little cobalt. Easily 5 times larger or more. Yeah, of course. I'll be absolutely careful with it. And as immediately as he says this, he almost drops it. I got it. Got it.
Oh my goodness.
I squint at him just with the absolute disdain, but I know that he's probably my best chance of getting an answer. So I just continue to glare at him.
You all watch, and it takes in total, this whole process for each item takes about 10 minutes. So it's about a 30-plus minute process as he grabs a couple more, one for he grabs a piece of paper for the coin, and then he grabs another empty plate for the piece of leather, and begins to draw up a trio of arcane circles around the various items, and take a closer look at each of them in turn, starting with the coin that was given to Dazes, as it is just the first in this series. Once he's finished drawing up this sigilled circle, you've seen Trash. You've seen Catherine kind of perform a similar ritual to this. It is the ritual casting of Identify.
I had a feeling.
Yeah, it's just it's a more time-intensive method of doing it, as opposed to utilizing limited arcane resources to cast the spell. but it allows somebody to basically do this, given enough time to properly research an item and ascertain its intricacies. As he casts this on the coin,
Oh, this is interesting. About 10% sodium chloride. And the remainder is... Well, this is interesting. There's another raw mineral mixed in here. It seems to be raw lunarium dust.
Lunarium?
Yes,
Huh?
did you see those candles on the way in here? Or the ones that are hanging up on my suspension mechanism up above? That's lunarium. It's a raw alchemical reagent. It's a mineral used in the enhancement of casting. This is mostly salt. It looks like, I would guess some sort of underground salt, if you will. But it seems to have been mixed together. There's also some sort of it's hard to tell, but I would assume this is some sort of sulfur, or some sort of sulfur and saltpeter, like what you find in a blasting agent.
There might as well be smoke coming out of my ears because I have no idea what's going on.
Long story short, the only place in this continent where these three ingredients might come in contact with each other would be in the Jumali dynasty, where they harvest this stuff.
Jumali Dynasty. Interesting.
Yes, it's out in the Fidi Desert is where they harvest large swaths of salt as well as raw lunarium. And they use this sort of blasting agent to break it free from the earth below in caverns below the desert dunes. So it makes sense that these three ingredients would come in contact with each other.
and as he finishes, you can see the circle that he had spread around this item has all but been used up by the spell, the ritual casting itself. As he picks up the plate and then, presents it back to you, Dazes, and gives you back the coin.
I see that clearly he gave some good information to Dazes about this thing, and I point at the leather. I'm like, now leather.
Yeah, of course. This one's gonna be a little tougher. It mostly just looks like leather, but there was something on it, something soaked into it.
And he goes about the same sort of process. And this one I'm going to roll on the table so you guys can see. To see whether or not he is able to ascertain the details of this. I'm going to go ahead and roll. I will let you know. Okay. Not the best, but not the worst he could have rolled. As he begins to examine it, and with his knowledge, he notices, he identifies that there's a foreign substance on an otherwise inert piece of leather.
The leather itself isn't all that important, but whatever's soaked into it is... There's definitely some arcane hint to it. It's hard to tell, but it's got similar properties to that raw lunarium we saw in the coin. But something's odd about it. It's not mineral. It's almost organic. Like it's naturally occurring somehow.
And he, again, the circle disappears, and you see, in the process of casting this, on the leather, a very tiny blot of blue light begins to emit from that spot where whatever it was soaked into it. And you recognize this, Floof, as a similar substance to what you found. You found with that leather. I believe it did. Let me double check and make sure I'm not talking out my backside here.
No, I think you're right. There was
There was
a
a syringe.
Yeah.
This color is almost identical to that liquid you saw in the syringe.
Can I smell it to see if it's this at least similar to what I smelled when I found my mom's body?
Yeah, you don't even need to roll for it. It's a similar sort of smell to what you found in and around your mother's corpse.
Okay, I'm immediately filled with absolute rage. And on site with that, I grab Chaotic by his neck and say, "What is this?"
I didn't do anything. I don't know. It's some sort of liquid lumarium.
Liquid what?
He's having trouble speaking right now. As you
You have
lift
to
him.
let go of him.
I don't.
Do Dazes and
Liquid
Trash do Dazes and Trash do anything while this is going on?
Yeah,
Floof, he's trying to help us. If he can't answer, then how the hell are we supposed to know what he's saying?
I'm gonna try to ungrapple this kobold from the.
Yeah,
the
my
corpse.
eyes are like practically red with rage. I'm not hearing anything that Trash is saying to me right now.
Okay.
And I say, "What is it?"
Oh, so Dazes, you said you were gonna try to pull.
To free this man.
Okay. Go ahead and give me. I'm gonna have you make a. Go ahead and give me. How exactly are you going about it, trying to free Keeper Odic?
Well, let me see. He said he's grabbing him by the throat, right? So I guess
Right.
I'm trying to.
'Cause depending on how you do it, will change. The role itself. Are you trying to bat
Yeah, I guess I'm.
Floof's
trying
arm away? Are you trying to wrestle the Cobalt away from him, or how are you going about it?
I mean, I guess I'm trying to. I was trying to like. This might be too difficult to do, but try to pry open his hand. Drop him, or try to maybe pull his arm down.
You could certainly try, but you'd be contending athletics with a much stronger creature.
Okay.
So yeah, you can certainly try, but you'll be rolling against against Floof's athletics, which I believe is. Are you proficient in athletics, Floof?
I have +4. On my
+4.
roll.
Okay. So yeah, he has a naturally high strength, so you would be you'd be at sort of a disadvantage there.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of a disadvantage, but there are other means of freeing someone.
Yeah. I mean, wow. I guess I could give it a try. I'm not.
Just hit me in the balls.
I'm not
You
trying to
do
hurt.
have monk shit that you could do.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to hurt Floof. Then again,
You could say that
Yeah,
it's an you're not trying to you're making a strike, but doing it so in a non-lethal way. But
Okay.
it would still be an attack essentially if you wanted to make an attack roll to try to free him.
okay. Yeah, that'll probably work out better.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and say, in order to do so, I'll let you do it if you spend one of your key points to try to stun a portion of Floof's hand gripping the cobalt. So if you spend one of your key points to make an attack, to do so non-lethally and basically stun his hand to have him release his grip.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, so go ahead and roll an unarmed strike.
Okay.
19. What's your armor class, Floof?
15.
It definitely hits. So if you spend that key point, you can strike. I'll say you strike right just below the bottom of the hand where the carpal tunnel vein is, and basically suspend the blood flow to the hand, forcing it to release open. As the Cobalt Keeper Odic falls out of your hand, Floof, down to the ground, gasping for air.
I take my other hand and start to reach for the throat, but realize that Dazes clearly does not think that me choking this person to death is the way to get my answer. So I do stop. But again say, what is it?
It's more lunarium. I don't know what this is. I've never seen liquid lunarium before. It's always a rock. What the hell is wrong with you?
I look at trash because I'm lost. I'm back in my little crisis of not knowing how to react in situations.
I'm so sorry, Keeper Odic. It's just this is a very sensitive topic for him. He lost someone of great importance to him, and it's all tied to that piece of leather, and we were just hoping for more answers or a sense of direction on where to go. And
Roll.
thank you for helping us.
Yeah, go ahead and roll a persuasion check for me.
Okay. Oh, maybe I should use inspiration for this.
You can go ahead and do it.
Okay.
You just roll it again.
Okay. Oh my god, did I need that one? Oh my god, they're the same. They're sixes. They're both sixes. Cool.
Both sixes? Okay.
Plus persuasion, just 2, which is just 8.
8. It wasn't a high DC. As Keeper Odic kind of scrambles back away from you, Floof, but looks at you, Trash. Were you not associated with Catherine, he would probably have thrown... He gives you this look at, if you were not associated with Catherine, he probably would have demanded that you all leave right now. But he kind of, collects himself.
Just stay over there. It's not. I don't know what's going on here. I'm just telling you what I saw. Jeez, man. I've never seen liquid lunarium before. It always is some sort of mineral, some sort of rock. I've never
where?
From the desert.
What desert?
From the Fidi Dunes, outside of the Jamelian dynasty. They harvest the stuff.
I look at Trash and I'm like, where is that?
Trash, you would know that the Jamila dynasty is in the southeastern corner of the continent, on the opposite side of where you are now from the Great Fidi Dunes, which is a huge, expansive desert that is extremely dangerous. That's all you were told by Catherine. And what you've seen on maps.
Mm-hmm. It is very dangerous and very far away, and we could go there, but it's not gonna be today.
Why?
Because it takes several days, maybe weeks even, to travel there.
Sooner we leave, sooner we get there.
Right? Yeah, I guess you're right.
Let's go. I reach towards Dazes and Trash's arms to drag them to head straight there.
I don't have my answers yet.
I avoid being grabbed.
Yeah.
Yeah. You would know as the crow flies, Dazes, that, and Trash, you've seen maps of the continent as well. As the crow flies, the outset of the Feedy Dunes on the opposite side of the Landscale Alliance and the farmlands that are there, it is a little over 100 miles from where you are now.
A little over 100 miles.
That is as the crow flies. On a normal journey, taking known roads, it would be about to even get to the desert itself and get to a point where just to get to the desert is almost double that, taking known roads. Or, if you were able to commission a vessel, potentially a bit shorter, but you still have to go quite a distance to get to that location.
I say, it will take time, Floof. You must be patient.
What's patient?
You must wait until the time is right. Trust me. We will work to get your answers.
I squint at Disease, and I feel defeated, but know that I can't make that journey on my own. So I walk to one of the walls and sit down and just sit there and wait for us to do something, because I know that I need them. They're my family now.
Aw.
Are you trying to make me cry, Bert? Twice today.
Sorry.
I'm crying, you're crying.
Stop it.
Once Keeper Odic is able to kind of collect himself, he looks over at you, Trash.
Yeah, and I've been extremely apologetic this whole time because I am the Arcanum is very important to me, and I'm a little bit embarrassed about how this transaction has gone, and I'm just like so apologetic. I'm like, thank you so much. I really appreciate your assistance. I am very sorry for how things transpired, and I really am very grateful for everything that the Magistem and Catherine and you have done for me. Thank you so much. If you have any answers,
Right. I'm no biologist, so just... Yeah, let me take a look at this. I specialize in mechanical arcanum. That being said, the only reason I'm doing this is I am legitimately curious why a mimic is talking and walking, and what the hell this liquefied substance is doing here. As soon as I am done, you get out of my office!
understandably so.
At this point, he sets up the ritual one more time, and puts it around the remains of the creature that you all killed. And this time, as he's casting, I'm going to roll this on the table just so you all see. You don't see the modifier I'm using, but you'll see the roll. You'll have some idea of the success rate. Okay. Not great, but still a success, but not quite as much information as he was trying to ascertain. It takes some time. You see, as he's casting this, normally the item remains unaffected during the casting of this, the ritual casting of this spell, and it just remains inside the arcane circle that is created. But as you watch the salt that was used in the layout of this circle, almost like a trail of black powder, as the arcane energy burns it up around the circle, as it trails closer and closer to the remains of the swoon creature, you see it begin to sizzle and boil and begin to ruin the remains of this creature. Very out of the ordinary. You've never seen this happen in any time that Catherine has used this method of identification, trash. And the creature's remains begin to liquefy and begin to boil. Regardless, the heat, you can feel the heat coming off of this plate of oozing flesh. And for a brief moment, the briefest of moments, probably no more than a second, you see this liquid blue light, not unlike what was glowing on the scrap of leather before, as it ignites into a puff of black smoke, and almost just hits Keeper Odic in the face as he oh god, that reeks! What in the hell? This is no naturally occurring creature. Something is very wrong here. I've seen this one other time. You see in the plate where the bubbling liquid had been the flesh had been previously, is now just this pool of almost like tar, this thickened liquid on the plate, and it's almost like stained and singed the porcelain of this plate. And this is... Give me a moment. And he kind of opens the door and opens a couple windows to air out this awful smell that's now encompassing the room. That's just like stomach churning. It smells like a mixture of like burning hair and like fresh road tar. It is just horrendous smell. And he runs to grab an old tome on the shelf. This tome is like as big as his chest, as he slaps it down on the floor and opens it up. Does anybody speak Elvish?
I don't think so.
I believe I chose a different language.
If not, it's okay, but you just wouldn't be able to understand because you see the text is written in very old Elven script. Probably dating back to years towards what you all would know as the Elven Prima, which are the original Elven race on the continent of Irindal. This is text that is extremely old.
I highly doubt that I can, but where would it be on D&D?
On your character sheet, you'll see it in the bottom. You'll see languages in the bottom left. Yeah, and
you said Elvish?
Elvish.
Oh, I speak that shit.
Oh, you speak Elvish?
I do.
Okay, then you recognize this. Some of the text that that Keeper Odic is reading off, you're able to peer over without getting too close to alert his suspicion, because he's very nervous being around you at this point, having been essentially choked out by you earlier. But you read the words, you see just a handful of words from this distance. You see the words blight. You see,
Blight.
yeah, you see the words blight. You see the words corruption.
Okay.
And you see the words cataclysm. Or the elven word for cataclysm.
I don't like that word.
Okay. I even though I'm sitting on the thing, I did notice this, and I do say the words out loud for Trash and Disease to hear. It's just maybe I intentionally know that they don't understand that, and I barely know what the words mean, if at all, but I speak them aloud anyway for them.
Right. I would imagine that you would say it in Elvish to start with.
Okay. Yeah.
And then having noticed that they can't understand you, you would repeat it in common.
Yes.
So you hear the words coming from Floof, initially in Elvish. You hear, and then he repeats back in common. Blight. What was it? Blight, cataclysm, and
Corruption.
and corruption. Yeah. Specifically, as Keeper Odic is staring at this bubbling pool now beginning to cool on the plate, he looks at you, Trash.
The last time I saw something like this was when Catherine was asking me to research a creature that had made its way into the rivers close to Zimdrum. At that time, we called it a blighted creature. This is not unlike that.
Blighted creature. Catherine was researching?
Well, she was researching something else, but had come across a similar creature, and it was described as blighted.
Okay, and where was the location?
Along the Elven Prima River, which is the river that runs just past on the eastern side of this city and goes off towards the sea in Mirstadt. It's the main river that runs on this side of the continent that splits the Aelenwalt forest in half. Here, I'll pull up the map so you guys can see. And he would pull out he would have maps and things inside this office as well. And even though he's hesitant and distraught from earlier, you see this hint of curiosity in Keeper Odic's eyes as he's researching what's going on here. Let me go ahead and pull up the map for you all again. So right now, you all are here in Tierhelm. The Aelen Prima is the Aelen River is this one right here. The one running and splitting off to the right as you go south. The Serpent Secundus is the one that splits off and goes closer towards the coast, down towards the capital city of Magnolia. But what he was describing is they had found this creature closer up here to Zimdrum, near the Badlands. Was the last time he saw something like this.
Shroom?
Yeah, Zimdrum. It's Zimdruum.
What happened with this creature? Did you kill it? Was there any
Oh, they killed it all right. I mean, it had eaten like 12 people, at least, if not more, and God knows how many, other creatures it probably consumed. But again, what brings it to mind was the fact that this wasn't an intelligent creature, or shouldn't have been, and yet it spoke. It spoke common. Mimics don't speak common. They operate purely on instinct.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the capacity to speak, or shouldn't. And yet somehow this one did, as you describe it.
That's so peculiar.
Tell me about it. Whatever this is some nasty business. Because whatever I can begin to take a closer look at this and research this old tome, but the last time any of this was ever recorded was centuries ago. We're talking some ancient shiz here.
I'm still disengaged and wondering what to do next.
But Keeper Odit closes the tome over a piece of cloth he throws in there as a bookmark.
Let Catherine know, or I'll let Catherine know, that you came by and what we found. But right now I need to do some more research. This is not good. Whatever this is, if there's more of these things that are intelligent, these are dangerous. You were saying that...
What's up?
I was just gonna say, this can't be natural, can it? Is someone causing this?
I don't know what causes it. It doesn't say in this text, but like I said, I'm a mechanical arcane researcher. I built machines and tools. I'm not an ancient elven prima researcher. There are very few of those around, as the whole study has kind of gone the way of the dodo. It's so old at this point, and there just unfortunately isn't a lot of profit in it, unfortunately, but so there wasn't a lot of need from the various cities and powers in the world to really want to research further. If there is anything of value, it is buried up there in the Badlands somewhere, and there's very few people with the seeds large enough to want to go there.
Well, whatever information you have, or upon your research, if you communicate it to Catherine, she has a way of contacting me, and perhaps whatever information we could further ascertain, if we can, I could tell her, and maybe she could pass that information along. But yeah, this is such a strange thing.
Of course. As a favor to Catherine. But anyway, with that said,
As he shuts the tome.
I respectfully ask you to leave.
I stand up and kind of stomp over towards him, and I get close and I lift my hand, but I just grab the piece of leather and put it back into my pouch.
My sincerest apologies for your loss, but I recommend you don't take it out on people who have nothing to do with it.
I growl and walk towards the exit.
What would Dazes, would you and Trash like to do?
Well, I'll grab my my coin from the plate.
Okay.
And I guess I'll bow and I'll say sincerest apologies.
Right. You might want to keep a short leash on that one. He needs to take a chill pill or two. I get it, but I had nothing to do with this.
Again, thank you so much for your help again, Keeper Odic, and I'm very sorry for the way things, transpired today. But if maybe in the future, I'm in the area again, I would love to maybe talk to you about mechanical arcana, because that's something I'm kind of good at and I really like doing, and I'm sorry about today. And then I just kind of run off because I'm really embarrassed now, because he would have been a really good person to talk to about that. But
Okay. All right. With that, you all leave Keeper Odic's office, the door all but falling off its hinges from earlier, and the smell of singed monster flesh still kind of lingering in the air, as some of the adjacent researchers and keepers are just like, as you walk past, you're just like, ugh. Even one of them, you walk past and you see a young man and young woman kind of exchanging a few gold coins. Ugh. You were right. Less than a week this time. As you all leave, I would assume are leaving the library.
Yeah, as I'm leaving, not knowing the rules of the library or anything like that, can I attempt to take a completely random book and add it to my inventory?
You attempt to take one of the books, and you grab it with ease. Nobody really notices, as somebody grabbing books in and off the shelf. But as you reach a certain point towards the door, you notice that. Do you have it in your pack, or do you just hold it in your hand? What's going on with it?
I grabbed it, and yeah, I just held it. I don't even care who saw me or care about the rules. I just want to leave with it. So yeah, I'm holding it.
As you go to hold it and you walk past, you notice on the floor that there are certain arcane sigils written on the floor as you walk past. And as the book passes over those sigils, it just sticks there in your hand as you begin to tug at it. But it does not move past that point. As you tug and you tug and you tug, you can continue to do so, but you notice back towards the desk, the Aarakocra woman looks over. Excuse me, sir, but you cannot leave with that book.
I comedically try to pull the book out of the library still until eventually I lose interest and let go and continue like it
You just
never
drop it there?
happened anyway. Yeah.
You drop the book and you see the look on this Aarakocra's face as she rubs her feathered fingers across her brow, kind of just looking. Goodness gracious. It's just one of those weeks. As she walks off, as you guys are leaving, she just walks up and runs to grab the book before it gets damaged by somebody stepping on it. But you all exit out into the. It is at this point the time you spent. It is about midday. After all the time you spent in the library, we'll say. After your trip to the Gilded Bull and your your time at the library. It is a little past midday. What would you all like to do? You have your destination provided by Miguel Barone to deliver the package, and you have some additional knowledge about some of the various items, all kind of pointing towards the Jamila dynasty and the Fidi Desert.
I humbly and maybe selfishly suggest we go to Zimdroom immediately.
Zimdroom?
Isn't that where you said that magic is coming from, or did I?
He said the last time they saw a monster the likes of the one that you all killed was in Zimdroom, but the...
Oh, okay.
Right, but the mineral, the lunarium, the raw lunarium as you know it today, the mineral form of this substance is only found in one part of the world.
And did we find out what part of the world that is?
Yeah, he would have said that it's harvested in below the desert by the Jamila dynasty, but it is harvested in the dunes, the Fidi Dunes, which is the if you're looking on the map here,
Okay.
it is this large desert that spans several hundred miles in both directions. And then the Jamila dynasty is here in the southeast between the mesas and the dunes.
Okay, I again humbly and selfishly suggest we go towards the Fidi Dunes and the Jamalia dynasty because I care about getting the answers that I'm looking for and less about meeting Miguel or going there.
And as you're saying this, both you especially, Dazes, would know that in order to get there via land, you would need to go through Mirstadt either way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You would need to travel southward towards Mirstadt, up through the heart of the Landscale Alliance, to even reach the dunes or the dynasty, or to take a ship to take you around the cape of the desert. So either way, you would need to head to Mirstadt.
Well, lucky for you, Mirstadt is whether we go to the Fidi Dunes directly or not, we have to go to Mirstadt anyway. So
Fine.
But you still have half the day, roughly. You have a bit of gold. If you would like to prepare, Aziz, you would know that in order to take the way along the river road, basically running on the west side of the Prima River, through a portion of the Aelenwald, which you are more familiar with, Floof, and to get to Mirstadt versus on conventional roads, it is about a 2.5-day journey to get from Tierhelm to Mirstadt, taking the road running south through a portion of the forest, over the river, and then eventually into the city of Mirstadt.
Yeah, I just repeat my suggestion that we should maybe go gear up, get some like rations, maybe if there's like a weapon shop nearby or like place where we can get potions or anything of that sort. That kind of.
Sure. Okay. Is that what everybody wants to do?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a follower at this point, so yeah, I'm doing what they're doing.
Okay. We'll go back to the Tierhelm map here. Just for a point of reference. You all are currently on the outside of H3 here, on the north, or essentially the western side of the city, on the walled portion of the city, almost near the palace itself. The market district would be back towards where you all sort of started your day, down here, where the carnival market kind of takes place in this lower center portion of the city. But it might take you about, 20, 30 minutes to get down there by foot. And then you would be able to easily, at this point in time, especially with the carnival market still going on, this week-long sort of celebration, there are numerous vendors of the different types in that area.
Maybe we can get some good deals.
Is that whatever?
I just start walking towards that area.
Okay. It takes you about half an hour to get down there, before you start to hear the noise of the music being played again. You see various festival goers back and forth through the city as the carnival market is in full swing for the day. And you see various vendors of all kinds hawking their wares, in this direction and that, calling out to you as you walk by. Is there something specific you guys are looking for? Deals.
Yeah, maybe some. For me, it's like potions. Maybe,
Okay.
maybe like armor or a new weapon. And then that's about it.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm looking for, but I do give a little nudge to Dazes, and remembering that Trash taught me this word before, I just say celebration. Just trying to, act like I know something he doesn't, and just say like that's what this is.
Can I tell that he's trying to be smug about it?
I mean, with your passive insight, yeah, pretty much. You can tell he's trying to show that he, has learned something. Yeah, I would say that's pretty easy to tell without a roll.
Yeah, okay. I'll smile and nod, and I'll give him the satisfaction.
Nice.
My eyes widen a little, and I'm happy, and I continue to walk.
All right. If that's the case, who's looking for what again? Or where do you want to start?
I'm always hungry.
You're looking for food. That's pretty easy. I would say you could find, there's cooked hens, there's various meat stalls. You see spits of rotating meat over open charcoal fires. You see various vegetables and candied apples and things of that nature, more of the sweet fare, as children run about with, all sorts of crystallized candies and things of that nature, wrapped up. Saltwater taffy is a favorite of a lot of the seagoing individuals. There's various fruit stalls, things of that nature. So I would say if
I attempt to buy some, some fruits and vegetables and meats. I don't like the sugar. It's just not something I'm addicted to at the same time. That's not how I was raised, I guess.
Right, that makes sense.
So yeah, I'm buying. I don't know. I'm interested in the chickens and the apples more than anything.
Okay. I would say you're able to find, a lot of that pretty easily. Depending on how much are you looking for just like today's meal, or are you looking for rations for upcoming days? Because you do have some rations that you're given as part of your starting equipment. I think you get like 10 days rations to start with.
All right, I'm looking for something to eat right now, but I would like some additional food for the road.
Okay. I would say if you're looking for like enough for your trip down to Mirstadt, would be and today about 3 days worth of food. Probably you're looking at 3 silver for everything.
All right. And there's one vendor.
There's all sorts of vendors. It doesn't take long. There's so much food going around right now during the festival. So you could find, cured, hens and or chicken or spit meat that they can wrap up in parchment paper for you to preserve it.
All right. I'll do the 3 silver. But when I get to the meat rations,
Okay.
I'd like to attempt to intimidate the person to give me twice as many.
Okay. Go ahead and roll intimidation.
All right. Woo! Let's go.
18. You walk up, and your size alone, looking at this man, he's pretty big on his own. He would be big for a human, but that's he's essentially looking like almost straight up at you as you kind of snarl when he tells you it's going to be 2 of the 3 silver that you spend, and he
I think I can give you a discount. Here's a bit of extra on the house since you've been such a good customer.
and he kind of packs up about 30% more than what he really should have given you.
Okay. It's like I'm at Chipotle or something. I got
Right, right.
extra.
Yeah, you asked for that extra meat, that
Uh-huh.
extra scoop of barbacoa.
Yeah, but they didn't charge me for it. They just
Exactly.
gave it to me. All right, and should I do something in my inventory or anything? with those
So
things?
under your inventory, there should be a I believe it's under inventory, and if you go to, you'll see the gold where it says 10 gold and 3 silver that you see.
Yeah.
Click on that, and it'll pull up the drop down. So you should have the 3 silver already. So what you would do is go where it says SP or adjust coins down below.
Yeah.
You'll enter 3 and you'll hit the remove button.
Okay. Got it. And then, do I add anything to my inventory, like the rations or anything?
We'll just say that you just keep track of them. I don't
Okay.
usually, unless I specifically tell you at the beginning, like, hey, rations are an issue in this area because you're in like the tundra or you're in the desert or something. You need to conserve water. You know, for the most part, I just assume you guys, if you're in like an urban area, you're able to find food.
Okay.
I don't stress too much about rations because it just adds unneeded complication to shit.
Sure.
You got enough stuff to remember as far as magic items and things like that, or spell slots and other resources that you have to manage. I don't run like a hardcore campaign where you got to keep track of your rations.
Sounds good.
Plus, you already have 10 days worth of rations in your starting equipment. So,
Cool.
all right. With that, Dazes and Trash, which one of you would like to go next, or would you like to go to the same general location, or what are you looking for?
Yeah, I'll keep a lookout, I guess, for a potion shop, or I guess I'll be looking for a potion shop for
Okay.
specifically healing potions.
All right. As you're walking down, specifically down the main bridge across the city, one of the larger one, the Gilded Bridge, you see there's a pop-up shop, potions vendor, on your left-hand side, which would be the north as you're going back across the bridge towards where you started the day. In the stall, you see a tabaxi man, basically a cat person, kind of setting up various vials and things of that nature. And as you kind of turn your head, he catches your eye. Well, welcome here, sir. We got brand new spanking potions for you. What you looking for?
Yes, I'm looking for some potions of healing.
Healing? All right. We got the regular healing potions. We got your superior healing potions. Those are a bit more expensive, but we do have them. I got a handful, and I got a handful of special special potions. And I got a little bit of my own family recipe potions.
Family recipe?
Yeah, I know most potions are gosh darn expensive, but I managed to find some cheaper ingredients, if you will. Not necessarily bad, but just cheaper ingredients. And they allow me to sell them at a discount because the cost of producing them's a tad bit cheaper.
Do you mind giving me the price rundown on these?
So, regular healing potions, your common healing potions, them's about to be 15 gold apiece. Your superiors, those are about 100 gold apiece. And I have a handful of other potions. Those are, your things like invisibility, your things like potions of dark vision, in case you got that there problem. A lot of these human folks, they can't see in the dark real well. So I make a killing come wintertime with those, let me tell you. And then, of course, my homebrew potions are real on the budget side there. They're only about 5 apiece.
Okay. 15's a lot. Okay. Can I grab 2 of the regular potions, I guess?
Of the
And,
homebrew ones, or just the regular
the like normal ones.
normal one, just the regular healing potions? Yeah, you would need, so that'd be 30 gold.
And then I'll grab a homebrew just for the lulz, but
Just for the lulz.
Can I try to persuade him to give me like a 1 or 2 gold discount?
I don't usually do discounts, but you did buy a good amount, so roll a persuasion check. Well, sorry, friend. It is what it is.
Alright, that's fair.
So yeah, if you want 2 regular healing potions and one of the homebrew ones, it'll be 35 total.
Okay. Alright, I'll take that off.
Okay. So I'll write up the homebrew one here in a minute. As you buy the potion, you see on the back of the 2 normal ones are just kind of this reddish swirling liquid in a vial. Not unlike what you saw Domus use to resuscitate Floof during your encounter with the mimics. The one that you see, the homebrew, you see on the back, there's a label, and it's handwritten. And it has some disclaimers, if you will, on the back of it, and it reads, it says not intended for consistent use across a week-long period. Side effects may include dizziness, nausea, vomiting, loss of arcane ability temporarily, and as well as blindness.
Blindness. Yeah, after I read this note, I look at this.
Essentially, mechanically, sorry to cut you off. Mechanically,
Yeah.
if you consume this, you'll need to roll on a D20 table, and it has some side effects, but it is cheaper.
Oh, no.
It's the
He goes blind mid-fight.
it's the equivalent of bathtub health potions.
I'm definitely keeping this.
Okay. I'll have to get that, but there are side effects. Some good, some bad. You know, you never know what happens. But Crash, you would see this going on. Did you want any potions as well, or were you looking for something else?
I was gonna take a look at because this is you know, I've seen, you know, loose change that people, you know, lose in the garbage throughout my life, and like I have like little bits of gold here and there, but I've never had this much. So I think I wanted to try to find, if possible, like maybe like a nicer weapon or a nicer piece of armor for myself, because everything I have on my person is from scraps.
Right.
Things that I have made from the garbage. So it's like...
Sure. You have, mechanically right now, you have leather armor, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Are you're proficient with light armor or medium armor? What does it say?
Both.
Both? Okay. So you have proficiency with medium armor. So you could wear, you know, heavier stuff if you wanted to. Or you could stick to... are you looking for... It's easy enough to find a vendor as you look around. There's a number of more gruff-looking, kind of reminiscent of Domus, you know, blacksmiths and leather workers. You can definitely tell, like, the difference between the various vendors, the ones that actually, like, make the armors and weapons. But you're able to find one of the stalls that you see various leather armors, you see some breastplates, you see... chainmail and things of that nature. Is there something specific you're looking for?
Yeah, maybe if I could find something a bit sturdier than the current leather armor that I have.
Right. So normally, you see in this particular stall, he has a pretty wide range. There's some leather, there's you know, padded armors, things of that nature. Leather and padded are very similar to what you have now. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have anything too outstanding as far as like magically enchanted. These are all just mundane items. Mm-hmm. But he does have you see kind of hung up, there's one leather armor set that looks a bit more refined than some of the lower tier ones, the closer to eye level, kind of hanging up, and it looks a lot nicer. It's stitched. It's got finer stitching. It has a handful of rivets holding the pieces together, making it much stronger from tearing or being able to deflect. It is studded leather armor, and also has a number of chain shirts, scale mail, which is more of like pieced together plates, kind of like what you would see like scales of a lizard, you know, kind of the way the plates overlap each other. And then you see hanging on a rack, there is a much larger than your figure, but as you are a small creature, a full set of plate armor. But it looks pristine, but there is no way in your size you would be able to wear this.
Mm-hmm.
But it is quite beautiful. It's probably one of those like Halo products, if you will. Like you see it there, but you're like, no one's ever gonna fucking buy this. No one can afford this shit except for maybe like a noble.
Right.
But it is there, kind of staring you in the face. But most of the like more affordable items are kind of lower to mid level on this stall.
Okay.
Wait, my eyes see this armor, by the way, and I'm staring at it like with anime glistening eyes because I do want it.
It is beautiful, and he kind of looks at you, the individual behind the cart or behind the stall,
You like the armor? You are a big man. You look real good in armor.
I just say, give it to me.
How much are you looking to spend, friend? That piece there is 1,500.
I reach into my pocket and pull out I think I have 100. We got 100 from the.
Right. You would have like a third
110
of.
then.
Yeah, you would have a. Well, you would have a third of that because you split it 3 ways.
Oh shit! All right.
There's 100 total.
Okay, so I hand 43 gold in my hand and hold it out to him, desperately hoping he'll sell it to me for that price.
Good one, friend. You are very funny. No.
My eyebrows immediately go into angry mode, and I stare at him and maybe try to intimidate him for it, but you know that it probably won't work.
He looks right into your eyes, right back at you, his hammer in his hand. This man is not as large as you, and he's looking up at you, but he is just as jacked. And he looks back and goes,
Friend, I have seen many adventurers, and I have kicked all their asses. No.
I nudge Trash and say, "Give me your money."
Even if I gave you my money, we still wouldn't be able to afford the pinky on that plate.
I want the pinky.
How about we just go somewhere else? And I just kind of try to lead him away.
I put the money back in my pocket and follow.
you do see, Trash, you spot they're in kind of your price range of what you currently have. He kind of looks at you, eyeing the leather armor and some of the medium tier, more reasonably priced armors. He goes,
We have many nice studded leather armor. It starts at 45 gold. Then we have this nice bear hide armor. It starts at 15 gold. The chain, the scale, they start at 50.
and chain and scale armor are medium.
Okay.
And the hide, I'm sorry. Hide, chain, and scale are medium armors. Anything below that, studded or leather or padded, are light armor.
Okay. I'm just checking my inventory, and it does say I have studded leather. So would any of these...
Oh, okay. Then you already have studded leather.
Yeah, like none of these would improve upon the AC at this point.
Not unless they were some sort of enchanted armor or some very high quality that would cost far more than what he has. These are very basic. There's nothing... I mean, they're nice. They're not, like, outstanding. They're not, like, filigreed or, you know, they're not +1 armors mechanically, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, I just kind of... I think I take a look at what's there, and while I admire it, I don't need to grab it right away.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you guys would like to shop for before? I don't know if you want to... The choice is, do you want to leave now and get there a bit sooner, or do you want to spend the night here and leave in the morning, potentially traveling further during daylight hours?
I don't know what to do.
Well, it's y'all's choice. There are pros and cons to both.
I say sooner we leave, sooner we get there. Again. Suggesting that I'm ready to go.
Well, the roads could be kind of dangerous at night, but I defer to you, Dazes.
About what time is it now?
I would say at this point it's probably mid-afternoon. Probably realistically like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So you probably have maybe 3.5 hours more of daylight in the day before it starts to begin to get dark.
Okay. Would we be... I guess this is maybe a discussion for Floof and Trash as well, but would we be just traveling on our own, or would we be like grabbing transportation?
That is an option as well. You could potentially there are rentals for carriages and things like that. You would remember as having kind of traveled through some of these cities in your previous days working on a ship. You would know that there are commissions for such things, but they can get quite pricey to ship people. More so, a lot of these vessels are intended for cargo. There is more money to be made moving cargo up and down the river than there is people, as people require more room to be comfortable. As cargo, you can just stack it from floor to ceiling without issue. So a lot of these vessels run pretty minimal crews in order to save on cost of the crew themselves, as well as not having to pay large amounts in labor to do that. Same thing with caravans. They tend to try to minimize their cost of moving these things unless they know they're going into dangerous areas. But these are pretty well-traveled roads, so the likelihood of encountering something of severe danger that requires enough people to overcome said danger is not as high in this area.
Okay.
Not to say it doesn't happen, but it's not as high as like if you were traveling through the Badlands, where you're almost certainly going to encounter something of danger. But in general, just to give you an idea of the travel time, I'll go ahead and pull up the world map here real quick. Yeah, and if you want to measure this for yourself, there's the ruler tool up here. And if you drag with the left cursor, you click with the right, you can continue a marker. Taking the road down that winds down the edge, along the edge of the river, and then down to the city of Mirstadt. It's approximately 65, 70 miles. So it's the average speed walking for an adventurer to travel is about 25 to 30 miles per day. Comfortably. You could go faster, but then you run the risk of making yourself exhausted. And
so it's at least a 2-day journey.
Yeah, about 2.5 days to get along the river road running to Mirstadt.
And that's walking? That's not too bad.
That's walking, yeah, to get from Tierhelm to Mirstadt. So you would need to camp out a couple nights, and you would get there about midday of the 3rd day. So long as you didn't encounter something else that would slow you down.
Okay. Well, we gotta camp out a couple of nights anyway.
Yeah,
So
and
you
this-
think we should leave now?
Yeah, why not? If y'all are okay with that.
I'm excited, and I'm happy. I gained a little bit of something. I'm like, yeah, guy. This guy's ready to go. He wants to get there fast. I'm happy. And I look at Trash and I'm like, eagerly, like, let's go.
Oh, okay. If everybody wants to go, then we'll go.
All right. With your group set on its destination, the city of Mirstadt, on the open port of the Sea of Aegir, you head out southwards towards your next destination. A number of different curious things driving you forward, one of which being your agreed-upon contract with Miguel Barone to deliver an item to a contact there in Mirstadt, but also along your way, moving towards your potentially a final destination in the Jamila dynasty, as you all seem to have some sort of connection moving you southeastward across the continent. With that being said, I think that's probably a good stopping point for tonight, as we've been going for about 3.5 hours now. So next time we'll do some overland travel, so you guys will get to experience the random encounter table. So that'll be fun. You've got a couple days to see what happens. And then we'll see how things go on your travels towards the city. But I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. That was definitely wild. I was not expecting some of that stuff. So thank you for the influx of chaos that was ensued there.
I was
see what you did there.
I was kind of worried T-Walk wouldn't be able to break my hand and I'd accidentally kill your NPC or something. I'm like, oops.
Hey, it was a possibility. It's always a possibility. So there's consequences for every decision.